Give me one reason to stay here, and I'll turn right back around. Give me one reason to stay here, and I'll turn right back around. Said I don't wanna leave you lonely. You gotta make me change my mind. Baby, I've got your number, and I know that you've got mine. You know that I called you. I called too many times. You got to call me, baby. You can call me anytime. You got to call me. Give me one reason to stay here, and I'll turn right back around. Give me one reason to stay here. Oh, I'll turn right back around. Said I don't want to leave you lonely. You better make me change my mind.
Warning: this podcast features adult subject matter, adult language, and things not meant for children to hear. Viewer discretion is advised. You've been warned. We could be. We might be. I think we finally are. We are live, ladies and gentlemen, here on the I'm No Joe YouTube channel. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in to this, the latest, the season 2 finale of the I'm No Joe podcast, a show where every armchair quarterback can feel like an Eddie Bravo. Tonight, what a wonderful night we have in store for you fine folks. We have some interesting things to talk about. We have some interesting fights to go over, and we've got a hell of a panel here to break it down. So before we get into it here, let's take just a moment, go around the room, welcome these fine folks here to intake some shenaniganry and exhale some opinions for us. First and foremost, the freshest guest a man could ask for, Mr. Fresh03. How are you doing this fine evening, sir?
Doing well. We're doing a little bit of recap. There was a couple of good things that came out of this weekend, so should be a fantastic show here on the I'm No Joe channel.
I agree. We've got some wonderful topics for this evening. So across from him this fine evening, we have got possibly the youngest guest to grace the stage of the podcast itself. The man for more age-conflicted, bot-detected possible minors in my videos than anyone I have ever had on any show I've ever been a part of. RJ, how the fuck are you doing, stranger?
You can't call me a stranger. I've been here for 2 weeks back to back now.
This is true. This is true.
Doing pretty good, man. Had a pretty good week. Pretty excited to talk about the shit that's going down coming up here on Saturday in Austin.
Oh yes. So we've got some interesting things lined up indeed. Now, as is the case more often than not, across the octagon from myself, as it were, my Wednesday night homeboy, my combat shit-talking compatriot, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Galty Vapes. TJ, how the fuck are you doing, brother?
Fucking fantastic. Excited this weekend's fights are going to be great. For being a smaller card, there's actually some pretty solid fights on here that are worth talking about. unlike a couple of the other ones that we've ran across lately, which
Ain't that the
I will
damn
say
truth?
there was one previous that we kind of skipped a lot of shit that actually showed up and actually outperformed what the card was. So hopefully we can continue to get those. The only question I have tonight, where the fuck is Ned? There's a certain somebody that's on this card you would figure Ned would show up for because I can't stand the motherfucker, but he seemed to be all up in his jock. So
I
I
mean,
love Platinum Mike.
all I'm gonna say is when you give a guy a platform to sing his favorite guy's praises and he doesn't show, does he really like the guy that much?
He's gonna show up right when it's time to talk about him.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. Is like he's not gonna be here on time. We know that. It's just that's Ned style. But then when we get to it, I'm expecting a ding. We'll see though.
Yeah.
I'm just waving the bullshit flag if that happens.
Right, right.
I'm just gonna double check one thing, Nita, before you get going.
Absolutely,
You did mark this video as not for children, right?
absolutely. Not for children. No one under 18 appears in this video. No one under 18 should be seeing this video. So
Okay, so you have checked RJ's ID again.
I have seen his ID personally with my own eyeballs. I can verify he is over 18. Now, whether
I'm still mighty sketch every time he comes in.
You
know,
Every time.
I just want to make this very clear. I can't understand why you guys are giving the pizza rat so much shit. He's internet famous.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I can verify that his age is over 18. What I cannot verify is that the paint bristles he has glued to his chin are legitimate. Just saying. Just saying.
You can do that with Loctite. I don't buy it.
Gorilla Glue is real easy to buy. No, but as has been said by folks way more intelligent than myself many times, before we get into this shit, if you guys enjoy what we do here, please check us out on all social media platforms. Facebook, Instagram, obviously, here on YouTube, Anchor.fm, all of your platform consumption of choice, available with and without these Instagram influencer level faces for your distraction level of choice. I'm No Joe pretty much everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, you name it, YouTube. We're all over the place. If you want to support the channel and the things that we do here, the shenaniganry we get up to, you can also take part in the behind the scenes and the unaired, some even say unairable things that happen on the I'm No Joe channel. Patreon.com/I'm No Joe. That being said, before we jump into the actual talk for this evening, part of tonight being the finale for season 2 is after this evening we have got, or this upcoming weekend I should say, we have got a 2-week break while the USC shifts from events that have been happening in the Apex in Las Vegas to fucking Fight Island. It is not the Caribbean palm destination with a skull thrown on the beach like we kind of thought it was going to be. It is Abu Dhabi. It's back in Yas Island. It's not really the Fight Island we were hoping for, but it is still a thing. They are still going to put on some great shows there, but they're giving us a break between now and then, so we are going to take advantage of that because we try to be here as much as they are to give you all the best coverage. So in doing so, we are going to actually transition up a new format for the show, some new material, some new products coming out on the channel in general. There's going to be some new time frames. There's going to be some new programming. We're going to make a lot more content if all goes well. Try and do some more smaller shows because obviously when we get going, we can get going, and I understand that that's not for everybody. So we are going to try and chop some of this up a little bit more and make it a little more digestible for the average casual. I'm trying to get you to bring your friends, to bring their friends. We're trying to make this a fucking thing. So we're branching the fuck out. We're doing a little bit more, and we're going to take advantage of this time off to kind of light some fires, kick some tires, and get shit rolling behind the scenes. That being said, we are going to start this evening with a little bit of recap from last weekend's current event at the Apex Vegas 3 show, as they are coming to call it now. I will say, in our predictions, we all did pretty fucking well. For the most part, the card, well, I mean, I wasn't going to point fingers, but, you know, for the most part, the card went kind of how we thought it was going to go. Most of it shook out kind of the way we thought it was going to. We did get some interesting fucking events that came out, though. Unfortunately, due to crazy fucking dogs, as you may or may not have seen throughout some of the shows, I actually missed the opening fight dealing with shenaniganry here in the Casa del Meter, and came back to watch the replay to find out the situation that happened with Mr. Hubbard and with Mr. Max. Before you can even talk about the card, you kind of have to talk about this fight. Max, to his credit, took this fight with a 5-0 record on 5 days' notice, a weight class below where he normally fought. So we have to start with the fact that he's already putting himself behind the 8 ball, and I know there's the argument, don't sign the contract if you don't think you can do it, but in times like these, short notice fights are it. They are how you get your name, so I also understand why he did do it. But it has to be noted. Weight class down, short notice fight as well, but he shows up. He's there. Round 1, he's giving her all she's got, and you can see that he thought in his head this was going to go very differently than how it was actually going when, the rubber hits the road, as they say. Starts to kind of get in a bad way pretty early on in round 1, and you can see some fading starting to happen pretty quick. Come round 2, you see that needle, it hit the fucking peg, and it hit the peg hard. When it hit the peg, he started eating some big fucking shots, and Hubbard was doing everything he could to get Max the fuck out of there, and Max, to his credit, was trying to hang in there, but it was not fucking pretty. And the bell rings at the end of round 2, and they go to their corners, and Max sits down on the stool, and we see a situation unfold both similar and different than a couple others that we've seen recently. Similar in that we're in a situation where one fighter is clearly not winning, and it does not appear that there is a route for him to make it to winning territory, save for the almighty 1 in a million puncher's chance. But realistically, even he doesn't think he's got that. And he says to his corner, straight the fuck out, call it. I'm done. Call it. And he doesn't say it once. He doesn't tell his coach, call it. I'm spent. I got nothing left. He doesn't say it twice. Call it, coach. Call it. In the span of 60 seconds from the time he sits on the stool till the time he stands back up, he says 10 times, staring straight in the coach's face, call it. Call it. Call it. Call it. And the coach is still trying to talk him into getting back up. Robert Drysdale still trying to talk him to get back on the stool. And you can see that Max has got nothing left as he repeatedly stares in Robert Drysdale's face and tells him, call it. And we get to the point where they go to call in for the beginning of round 3, and Robert Drysdale says to the officiate there, my guy doesn't want to go out. And so they bring in the doctor, and the doctor comes over and he talks to Max, who's still trying to stay on the stool. And they ask him, do you want to continue? And he says no, and they end up waving the fight off. But the issue comes in, this isn't a guy who was just, a little winded, and he says, I don't have anything left. And the coach has got to give him that fucking, you can do this, Rock, you got this, Rock, pep talk, and get him back in. This is a guy that you saw had nothing left and was staring in the coach's face and telling him, call it. I can't do this. And Robert Drysdale is still trying to talk him into getting back in fighting for 5 more minutes. And one of the weird things is that when we saw this situation not that long ago, and we talked about it when it happened, rightfully so, not that long ago, with Anthony Smith, where he literally told his fucking cornermen, my teeth are falling out. And his cornermen didn't stop the fight. And then Anthony Smith comments on this situation and says, and I quote, this isn't blood sport. They should have called it. They shouldn't have been trying to talk him into getting back in there. Where the fuck do we stand here? Like, how do we fucking realistically approach this situation where we've got Max, who has since come out and defended Robert Drysdale and said if we would have had another minute, 60 seconds on the stool, I bet he could have talked me into getting back into that fight. But I think that he made the right call. And then you've got Anthony Smith, who was in that situation and gave people shit for criticizing his corner.
Look, I got to step in here because Anthony Smith speaking up pisses me off for this reason. He told his coaches if they stopped the fight, his corner, he would fire them. That's well known. Drysdale?
Yeah.
I have no problem with what Drysdale was doing trying to get his fighter back in. Look, Max was a little worse for wear. That was clear as day for anybody who saw it or caught the replay. But at the same time, that's a coach's job. Try to get his mindset right. Look, I get it. He said it a whole bunch. We've heard it out of multiple different fighters where I got nothing left. I give up. I'm done. Throw it in. Look, he could have easily, if that's how he felt, could have just got off the stool, squatted down, tapped the mat. That would have been it. He was asking for his coach to throw the towel in for him so he didn't have to quit. Look, I'm of this. This is going to hurt me really bad to say this because this is like 2 weeks in a fucking row. I agree with what DC said. 100%. It's his corner man's job. Yeah, that's right. You make the old face. This hurts me to say this. But he said, as a coach, as a cornerman, your job is to keep your fighter motivated, even when they don't think they have it. You get them to get out there for this reason. This is the biggest thing that hit home where I agree with DC 100%. Max giving up versus getting KO'd, that looks a lot differently going forward in his life. Look, I know he's a weight class below where he was. He took it on short notice, and my fucking hat's off to him. But you have to get out there and finish what you started. Whether you go out on your shield, look, or you end up getting slept or something like that, go out. But now you have to live with the fact that you asked for it to be stopped. There's going to always be that what if, what kind of heart does this guy have? Why would we give him another shot in the UFC? Yes, he took it on short notice. Wrong weight class, whatever. But when you do that, you make all of those matchmakers that go, oh, we need an undercard fight. This guy's going to quit. We don't need him. He may have fucked his entire career. And at the coaches, Drysdale, I 100% support him for trying to get him off the stool and get him out there. He was thinking, look, Max, I'll even go this far. The first round, albeit I don't think he won it, you could argue that he did possibly squeak out the first round because he was going hard in the paint in the first round. But I mean, that's a pretty far stretch to argue that he got it. Let's just say, for example, that's one of the judges, because we know how wacky fucking judges are, could have gave him the first round. There's that possibility that it could have been one apiece. But we all know, we saw the judges' scorecards afterwards. It was all nothing. But still, it makes you wonder why you would give up, knowing you're taking this on short notice. I get that. But why you would give up your first shot at the UFC a little over halfway through the fight? You're 2/3 of the way through the fight. Why give up now? Just keep going. Well, how do you push yourself in the gym? Have you always been like that? Have the rest of your fights been that easy that you thought, oh, fighting's going to be easy? Fighting's not easy when you get to this level. Even somebody among the likes of Austin Hubbard, who is still relatively unknown, he's going to be good. You're at the elitist level that there is. Expect to get your ass whipped once in a while, but go out on your shield And kudos to his coach for trying to save him from this, what he's going to have for the rest of his life. What if moment? What if I had gone out there, even if I lost? I probably would have got another shot because I took this on short notice. So that shows heart. It shows determination. Now, that what if, maybe that was your one chance and you blew it. I have to say I agree with DC. His coach did the fucking right thing. As far as Anthony Smith goes, I love Anthony Smith, love his heart, love his demeanor. I don't think he has a pot to piss in when it comes to this because he's got a different mentality with his coaches where he tells them you don't stop the fight. Period.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I mean, this was your shot. You know, short notice fight. Take the L. You know, take it in the ring. Don't just quit. Because now, like Dana, the next time something comes up and he's looking for somebody, if your name's on that list, I mean, he'll be like, "Oh, that's that dude that quit and got a bunch of negative press for my company." Nope, not bringing you in. So he's got a lot of work ahead of him. He's a young guy, so
Absolutely.
he's got a lot of work ahead of him to repair that reputation if he wants to get any sort of shot again.
Right. So
the only way I possibly see them giving him another shot is at his weight class that he naturally fights at, and
Right.
it's going to be
I don't
something
even
low.
I don't even think Dana would do that at this point.
It would be, and I'm even stretching this out in my own opinion. It would be the earliest of earliest prelims on a fucking card that really doesn't matter.
Yeah, middle of nowhere card for sure. So I'm split here. I can see Robert Drysdale's point of view, and to a degree, DC and TJ's point here, where this is Robert Drysdale's job, is to get you mentally in this fucking fight. If he thinks you have anything to give, that's his job to get you to fucking give that in this fight. That's your job. That you signed up to do. I get that. On the other hand, as much as it hurts me to admit, much like TJ having to agree with DC, I here have to agree with Chael and the point that he brought up earlier in the week talking about this. It's a two-part point. One, people forget this isn't just a workout exercise where we're looking at Max's cardio against a machine. The reason that Max tentatively could have won the first round but lost everything and was literally defeated in the second was because of Mr. Hubbard. That people forget. This isn't watching Max work out. He was getting beat. He was eating big fucking shots from Austin Hubbard. This was a fight. This wasn't a workout. People are forgetting the fact that Max got worked so hard in the second, he didn't have anything left to give and wanted out. Austin Hubbard deserves a little bit of credit for that, in my opinion. But on the other side of that, this comes back to that irony of Anthony Smith opening his fucking mouth about this, because I wish the in-ring Anthony Smith we saw matched the commentator Anthony Smith that we hear from, because we know now that they don't. I absolutely agree that this is one of those situations, and even Chael put it, as someone who fought in that situation, it is better to say, I can't do this anymore, call it, and have the coach look you in the eye and just say, are you sure you want to make this mistake? Because if you are, I will throw this towel in for you. And if you say yes, throw the fucking towel in, conversation ends there. Because it is better as a young fighter to know you are defeated, go to the gym with your tail between your legs and get back to fucking work and better yourself, than to possibly take that shot in the next round, knowing you don't have it, that could shorten your career and or your life unnecessarily. Knowing you didn't have it and didn't need to go out for a third round to eat that shot. Fighting is not, as much as I really fucking hate to repeat this quote and give him any credit, he absolutely makes a valid point here when Dana White said on Tuesday, fighting is not a career, it is an opportunity. This is not something you get to do for your whole life. This is something you have a window of time you get a chance to participate in. And if you do it intelligently and you do it as safely as you can stretch that window out and maximize that opportunity. But if you do it carelessly and haphazardly with no regard, you can easily take a shot or take damage that you don't need to, that shortens that window and that opportunity substantially, and even goes beyond the career or the opportunity itself and impacts your life later on down the road, as we're seeing with some former greats in, like, unfortunately, a BJ Penn clearly is having some serious fucking issues in his real life outside of the ring right now. Those can directly be attributed to some of the vicious KOs that he took that maybe he didn't need to in his career. This could also be that situation that saves Max from having that negative experience down the road in not taking that damage now, knowing he needs to work on those things and watching him improve as a fighter going forward.
I have to wholeheartedly disagree with Dana White, 100%. These guys dedicate their life to fighting to get to this level. That is a fucking career choice.
I've been doing it since I was 6 years old.
It's along the same lines of people who make the career out of going into the military. That's a choice you make. You're not forced to do that. You choose to stay in that long. You choose to fight this long. And this is another reason why I agree with this. I don't know if anybody was watching Gamebred's fucking Instagram Live this week. I think it was yesterday. He even commented on it. He goes, "How is this not a career? I've been doing this for over 16 years. This is a fucking career. He's got 4 more years. He can fucking retire and collect a pension for that fucking matter. Pretty much. I mean, it's a fucking career. Now, how long your career lasts depends on how good you are.
Right.
Look, it's just like working in a corporate world. If you're bad at your job, you're going to get fired. This is a fucking job. I don't know why he thinks this isn't a fucking career, but that's the stupidest shit I've ever fucking heard. Because you don't put in that much time and effort into something to make money at it. A career is something you do to make money, support your family, support the lifestyle you want to live. That's what these guys are doing. That's a fucking career. Now, how long or short that career is, doesn't matter. It could be a fucking high school job length. You have it for 2 years and you're fucking done. But it's still a career at some point. Oh, I have to disagree with him on that. And I want to make it very clear. I'm not taking it from what I said earlier. I take nothing away from Austin Huck. He did fucking absolutely fantastic. He did his job to perfection. Absolutely. He made Max quit.
Yep.
So that he did what he was supposed to do. My hat's off to him for 100%. But I wasn't talking about him because I purely am fucking upset at Max.
Right.
And I'm not upset at him because I get it. Self-preservation is a wonderful thing. Everybody's mind has that. It's a great thing. It's good for his career in the long run. But I don't think it's good for his career, is what I'm saying. Because it does put that shadow of a doubt in people's mind of, why would we let you come if you're just going to quit?
I agree.
This is a career. If you notice, when we talk about fighters, they just had a loss. This is going to affect their career. Dana White, you're wrong again because you always say this about fighters. Well, that's going to affect his career going down the line. Or you popped off on fucking your boy who fucking did his job, albeit not quite as beautifully as he normally does. He popped off on Curtis Blades this week. Not a fan of what Curtis Blades is. Guess what? That's going to affect his career, he says. Guess what? It's a fucking career. You call it a career all the time. Stop your fucking belly aching. Go fuck yourself.
Kids these days. So, moving along from that interesting opening round of a fucking weird Apex card, that brings us into the Frank Camacho, Justin James, again, new fighter debut. This time, the very much opposite of the Max, in that Justin James came out looking absolutely like a fucking stud and knocked out Frank Camacho in one of the fastest opening round knockouts in UFC little guy history. I believe they said it was the third fastest knockout in division history. Badass way to make your fucking name known. Even Frank Camacho came out later and said, I had no idea that guy was even capable of that. My hat's off to him. You gotta love when a fucking fight goes that way. That's, Max, that is how you make a fucking debut.
Frank Camacho, that's another one of those fighters. I think he needs to start thinking about laying him up because he's had some pretty bad losses lately. And,
I agree.
And look, he's been around for a while. I know he's not a household name that everybody knows,
Right.
but he's been fighting in that lightweight division for a long fucking time.
For a grip, yeah.
And he's taken some pretty bad, brutal fucking losses where he needs to seriously think it through of, is this really good for my career in the long run?
Yeah, I agree. It was... I like Frank Camacho. I really do. He's one of those guys that he's always super fucking polite. He never comes out and tries to play the heel or talk a whole lot of shit. He's always super respectful. He always shakes hands at the fucking weigh-ins or at the face-offs and whatnot. Like, Frank Camacho is just a nice fucking dude. But, man, in this situation, the nice guy ain't gonna help you.
Yeah, especially with the way he got turned off. So
Yeah. Fucking A. Justin James made a fucking sparking debut for himself, literally. Moving on to the next one after that, the head of steam that Courtney Casey had built up coming into this fight fucking fizzled real quick when that fucking cage door closed. I don't know if it was the 25-foot versus 30-foot cage difference that made the big impact here, or the fact that she had just completely underestimated Jillian Robertson's abilities, but Courtney Casey could not stay off the fucking ground against her will. Jillian Robertson was absolutely having her fucking way, and you could see at several points she would actually smile or like smirk a little bit right before you see her like snap down and fucking throw Courtney Casey another direction or try and fucking grab and yank on her. Like, the choke that she slid in was so fucking buttery smooth when she got to that final point. There was no doubt. You just watched and went, oh, is she going to go to sleep or is she going to tap? This is going to be bad either way. And hats the fuck off to Jillian Robertson for looking like a damn stud out there. Not only did she get that choke and the W, but then we actually came to find out later on in the weekend that she, despite what the outcome of this match was going to be, had already signed up and confirmed is going to compete in next month's Submission Underground 16 from SUG Island, Uncle Chael's private Fight Island competitor, on July 19th amidst the Fight Island shenaniganry with the UFC shit. So, double props to Jillian Robertson on a very, very beautiful looking fucking win in the UFC, and now a chance to compete again and shine even more on SUG Island next month in July as well.
I'll say this, Jillian Roberts put on a fucking clinic during
Fuck
that fight.
yes.
Her fucking grappling was phenomenal.
She had no fucks to give.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Courtney didn't have a fucking answer for her. It was a beautiful thing to watch.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where you know someone is kind of sketchy on their takedown defense, and then you throw someone that's really good at taking someone down
repeatedly.
And she just worked her ass. Yeah. Just over and over and over again. Yeah, there was no answer to be had at all. So it was fun.
No, I'm very, very interested to see how it turns out next month when she faces off on SUG Island against another kind of dark horse stud in the ladies jiu-jitsu world that we will talk a little more about later on, actually, in Amanda Lowen, the PNW's Washington State's first female black belt. That lady is... We'll talk more about her in the future, I promise you that, but we'll talk more about her later this afternoon. This will bring us, though, into possibly the angriest we have seen the tiny tornado to date. It
Christ, get out of me.
it looked like a true tornado building. It started out and it wasn't pretty and it was kind of whirly and bouncy, and then it just got angrier and more vicious the longer it went on, and by the end you were just like, holy shit, where the fuck has this Tisha Torres been the last 5 years I have been watching you, you crazy little badass? She was coming out of fucking nowhere with crazy combos and angles. I don't know that we've ever really seen Tisha Torres throw, and she was throwing with anger and authority through the whole end of the fucking fight. You could see her whole core was yoked the fuck up every time she was swinging. She was throwing with bad intent, and I like it. I like that Tisha Torres. I want to see more of that going forward. And if it takes her and Rocky being on the same goddamn card together, then book those girls every fucking time. That's what I want to see from Torres.
I was so fucking surprised at that. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? I honestly thought she was going to get her ass whipped by Brianna Van Buren.
I did too.
No.
I thought Brianna came in just ready to deal with it.
That was, I will say, I ate my fucking words, put the shoe in my mouth, bit down. She did a fantastic fucking job. I remember when she first came into the UFC, she was doing that. And then all of a sudden,
Just
fucking train wreck. And I'm hoping for her sake and her career that she continues this path forward.
yeah.
Like, I hadn't paid all that much attention to her, quite honestly, before this. I was like, Van Buren should have her. Like, she should be able to take her. Like, I didn't know that she had that in her at all.
That was her first win in 5 years, if I'm not mistaken.
Something like that.
I believe, yeah.
Like
I believe.
2015, 2016
Or
was the last time
16.
she had a win.
I think 16. Yeah. I
She
think,
just came out like a fucking cannonball.
yeah.
Like, it was fucking ridiculous. And it just, like, the cannonball just kept going. It didn't just hit once. It just kept hitting.
It rolled the fuck through,
It's like
yeah.
some video game shit. It's like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah, if that's what Tisha Torres is still capable of today, then you better start fucking paying attention again. Because legitimately, I'm not gonna lie, I was just about fucking ready to write her off as staring at the fucking clubhouse from the green of 18. Like, she really seemed like she was on autopilot and just didn't give a fuck anymore. Almost like she was just kind of hanging around because her other half does this, and so it's something they have in common. Like, it didn't really seem like she had the drive anymore. And then she came out last week and showed every fucking body she is still here and very viable. So if that is what Tisha Torres is capable of, I am back on fucking board. I acknowledge that I was a fucking idiot in doubting, and let's see where this fucking train goes, because that girl looked very, very impressive. Now, on the other end of that brings us to the next fight, in somebody who has been around for a hot minute and is starting to not look incredibly as impressive as they once did, in Clay Guida. It's always hard to see guys that you like just start to go downhill, and I believe that this is that point where we, as they call it in some circles, are seeing a diminishing return on investment in Clay Guida. I think we're at that point where, as shitty as it is to say, we have seen the best of what we're going to see from Clay Guida, and I feel like we're only going to get worse performances from here going forward, because realistically, this fight should not have been that hard. There was nothing that difficult or technical or really that overwhelming that was presented to him that he shouldn't have been able to overcome. But he couldn't. He just could never get anything working, and it's like the more he tried to play the counter game, the more he was getting countered. The more he tried to aggressively go after the fucking legs, the more he was getting run up to the fence or catching hard shots on the top and not getting a fucking clean takedown, or getting a takedown and then not being able to do anything with it. And it's like, it didn't feel like the Clay Guida that we've seen, even in, obviously an asterisk in the last fight because Jim fucking Miller work gets done, as we saw again. We'll talk about in a minute. But aside from that, like Clay seems to have still been fairly fucking competent, and then we see him this weekend, and he just looks like he's losing it to me. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, anytime I see Clay Guida's name on a card at this point, I just kind of write the dude off. Like, I think that was the quickest pick I had for the weekend. I was like, oh, Clay Guida's fighting still. Yeah, Clay's not taking this.
Yeah.
I mean, when was the last time he was viable in a fight? I mean, he's picked up a win here or there, but I mean, sun shines on a dog's ass, you know.
Right, exactly.
Every dog's ass.
Even a blind squirrel can find a nut once in a while.
Guida, I mean, he's an all right dude. He's another guy who's been around forever, but
17 years.
Yeah, he's been around a long time. But he's in his 40s. He should probably hang up a little. He should probably consider hanging it up at this point.
That's kind of what I think.
I agree. Law of diminishing returns. So,
Yeah.
them returns have been diminishing for a long time.
Yeah, for a minute. Yeah. Oof.
Yeah, I said that last week. Meter said he's running up to the 18th green, and he was on the back end of 17, trying to get that putt in. Dude, fucking 17 years. Max can look at that and think about if he thinks like I'm gonna go to that last round. That's what happens to your career. We need a card that says career, kind of like caveat now. That's the shit that can happen to you in your career if you take those sort of decisions and take that one more round, because I'm going out on my shield. That's the sort of shit that happens. Is you just get fucking dogpiled in a fucking nothing so many times that your performance and your entire career is just garbage in a few short years.
Well, he's what, 42?
Yeah, that's it.
42, right?
42, yeah.
No, he's only 38.
I thought he was in his 40s.
No.
I could have sworn Clay was over
Right.
40 already. Damn.
Anyway, he looked like he was 42.
Yeah, no shit.
That's what 17 years of fighting does to you.
And being a carpenter before that, all that work. Yeah, it'll catch up with you.
Yep.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much there was to say about this fight. It was a dude at the end of his career taking a bite.
Look, the last fight that Clay Guida won was against fucking
Jason Ellis.
No, it was against BJ Penn. That was the fight where Dana White then said, "Yeah, no more."
BJ, yeah, it's when BJ had to retire. He gave him the Chuck Liddell speech.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, Clay Guida did not look good, and I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt, but he didn't have the pace he used to. Like, he used to keep a much faster fucking pace that people couldn't keep up with.
Yeah.
But you can tell he's lost a step. Like, it's not the same speed. Don't get me wrong. There are other people in the division that still can't keep that kind of pace. But,
Right.
or take that kind of fucking punishment. Because he took a lot of punishment that fight and just kept coming forward. So my hat's off to him for still being a fucking tough son of a bitch. But he's one of those guys he's been around so goddamn long. It's time to start thinking about taking the walk to the clubhouse and leaving the clubs.
No, it's always sad, but, you know...
You're muted.
Oh, shit. Derp, mute button. No, it's always sad to see the guys that you've seen for most of your fandom start to fade a bit, but the ironic bit is that right after that, this is part of where some of us just kind of had that gut feeling, and we went with it here. And ladies and gentlemen, Jim fucking Miller. I mean, now let me be clear here. do not get my words misconstrued here. I like Roosevelt Roberts' style. For a guy as young into the fucking UFC as he is, I think he still has a very bright future ahead of him. I think he just got a little too up on himself, which we have seen some fighters do, and he didn't realize what he was in there against. And Jim fucking Miller did what Jim fucking Miller does, and that man is a high-level badass for a fucking reason. He came home with the largest paycheck on that goddamn card for a fucking reason. That armbar that he put on Roosevelt Roberts' long ass arm. He thought he was cool to just yank and get out of that and pull right up with Jim Miller, and Jim said, no, son, we got this and we taking it home. Holy shit.
Yeah, when he flexed that thing out, I was like, what the fuck is Roosevelt Roberts standing up for? And then, no, he wasn't standing up of his own free will. That was his fucking arm getting taken.
Yeah, in that situation, typically, you would want to lean down on the guy on the ground and put the pressure on him to take the leverage off your arm and give yourself the opportunity to pull out, instead of leaning backwards and giving him all the power and taking away your opportunity to try and reverse it or pull out of it. And we found out, like you said, real quick.
I don't think he had a choice about standing up.
Yeah, it wasn't his say-so.
That wasn't. He didn't have a say-so on what happened to that arm.
Yeah,
it was fucking great. And I picked Roosevelt Roberts. I know for a fact I picked Roosevelt Roberts to take that. I thought that was his fight to lose, and Jim Miller showed him exactly how to lose that fight.
35th appearance, man.
Jim Miller looking like the Jim Miller of old lately, man.
Yes, sir.
People have known forever, his submission game, one of the best, I will say one of the best of all fucking time when it comes to that fucking weight division.
Yeah.
And I think after these two last quick wins like this, one to choking out Guido, one to snatching Roosevelt's arm as a fucking trophy, dude, I think he's got a run on it. I think he's got a run in him still.
That's kind of what I'm saying, man.
He's only 36, so technically he's still in that ballpark of I can be very relevant for at least another year, maybe two, or well, I will say up to 3 years with him, because he's not taking a lot of damage in those last two fights. They've been fucking over and done with quick. He didn't even take damage in this fight. He was talking about let's go fight on Fight Island after when they did his post-fight press conference there. I was like, yes, please.
Yeah.
Put him in there again. Give him somebody a little higher rank.
Give him somebody, a little more name notoriety.
Look, I know who Roosevelt Roberts is even before the fight. But I'm saying I have this feeling that he's got a push. He's still got one good push left in him. And it's looking that way after these last two, because he's looked crisp with everything. His defense has been on point, because that's what ended up with Roosevelt on his fucking back. And his jiu-jitsu game, just fucking top-notch. Just fucking beautifully done. And that arm, I saw it the second that thing was locked in, and Roosevelt was sitting there hanging on to his fucking wrist. He was doing all the right defenses, but I'm like, one, you have two long fucking arms. Two, this is Jim fucking Miller we're talking about. If he gets you on that, he had such a great bite with his fucking right leg over his neck. That was not going anywhere.
Yeah, when Jim locks in like that, you're already fucked. If you give him that much grip, you're already in trouble.
I think what blew me out of the water was when Roosevelt Roberts tried to stand up, he wasn't holding on to his wrist anymore. Like, okay, you want to stand up and slam? Feel free, but hold on to your fucking wrist. He let it go. I'm like, oh, your arm's broken. And when he did the verbal tap, my stepdad didn't hear it while we were watching it. He goes, what the hell?
Oh.
He goes, why'd they stop the fight? I was like, that was a verbal tap. He didn't have hands to actually tap. He had to do it verbally. He actually quit.
Yeah.
I don't think he was trying to slam him. I think he just got stood the fuck up when Jim Miller straightened out and just decided to snatch that arm away from him.
I don't know. It looked like he was slamming him because he was.
He tried to slam him once he got the grip, once he got fucking locked into that thing. But yeah, I don't think he had a choice about letting go of that arm, and I don't think he had a choice about standing up, because he got straightened the fuck up when Jim Miller straightened those legs out and just flexed on his ass.
Fucking
Watching the replay on that, I was like, oh Jesus! Like I hope his arm's okay.
Yeah.
'Cause that happened fast and violently.
And that's something else I need to tip my hat to Jim Miller for. He let go of that before the fucking ref even came in to stop the fight. If you noticed, Herb Dean hadn't even touched them yet, and
Yeah.
he let go once he heard tap, tap, tap.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a consummate fucking professional and a great sportsman right there, because you know what? A lot of other fighters, they're not doing it until he feels them pulling off, and they don't have to. That's
Right.
part of the fight.
That's
game.
the rules. That's right. They're prepped to get to that point. They're told you don't
And-
stop till the ref stops you.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Herb wasn't too far behind. He was like a half second, maybe a second behind, but still.
That's why
can
Herb's
be
the
difference-
best.
Yeah.
That can be the difference between hyperextension and dislocated broken.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Between a week of soreness and a surgery. Yeah. No. It was beautiful to see Jim fucking Miller get to do what Jim fucking Miller does. I know our casual was screaming at her TV when she woke up and watched the replay. But that, ironically enough, brought us into one of the more awkward fights of the evening. I gotta say, I did not see the Belial fight going to the judges. I also did not see Lyman Good not walking away with that W. I felt like he had more control. He had more crisp, more technical striking. He was doing more work. He was keeping the pressure more. He was dodging more. I feel like Belial did get some good shots, and he did land some clean fucking shots. But I don't know. Sure did not feel like he did enough to get that W. But you know, props to the man for coming home with it.
And I saw almost completely the opposite thing that you saw. I saw Bilal skating more shots. I saw him landing more significant shots. I thought he earned that win.
And this is why when you leave it up to the judges, they can
Yeah.
see it opposite ways. Nobody fucking knows.
Right.
But to be honest, the fight as itself was solid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was a good
wasn't
fight.
terrible at all. I agree.
No, it was not bad at all. I expected Lyman Good to perform a lot better than what he did.
Yep,
Don't
same.
get me wrong, I expected Bilal Muhammad to perform a lot better than what he did as well. Because both of those two in the welterweight division, they're both good, solid fighters. But
Yeah.
I don't either one of them perform to their potential.
No.
Or and I won't say to their potential, but to where I know they're at currently.
Right, to what we think they should be capable of. I agree. It felt like both of them were holding back a little bit more than they should have been. I agree.
And I'm wondering if it's because they both know they both have knockout power, so they were both afraid to go to sleep. But you know.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that after this next fight.
Right. No shit. So when you talk about the family of the tornado, very clearly Raquel and Tisha have a kindred spirit, so to speak, in the style that they both very much represent in the octagon. And that Raquel came out looking like she was already a little pissed off, and as that fight went on, she got angrier, and she started throwing harder and landing more combos and cleaner combos. And props to Miss Renault. She was going out there and giving it everything she could, and she landed a couple. She got her licks in now and again, but man, again, this is a situation where, much like in her better half's situation earlier, we saw the anger just build and build, and the shots were getting harder and harder and landing cleaner and cleaner. And by the end, we were like, where the fuck has this Raquel Pennington been for the last 3 fucking years? Why haven't you given us this? And why didn't we see this? Do we have to put them on the same card every fucking time going forward? Because I'm telling you right now, if that performance from both of those ladies is what we get every time they're on a card together, then I don't think we give them an option other than to be on cards together going forward. Holy shit. Both of those ladies came out and put on legitimately impressive performances, not just of themselves, but of the class and of the division. They both came out looking like fucking stars this weekend, and I'm very fucking pumped to see if they can both maintain going forward now that they have both clearly captured a good head of steam right now. Because Raquel looked fucking good, man. She was moving good. She was striking good. She was getting the fuck out when she needed to. She was putting her fucking game plan in place. She just couldn't quite land enough to, and again, props to fucking Miss Renault for not going out, but she ate some hard fucking shots in the process, man. Raquel looked pretty goddamn good.
She did indeed. Although I have to put it this way: of her last 5 fights, she's lost 3.
Mhm.
Yes.
2 of them, one being to the champ Nunes when she title challenged. That was in 2018, I think.
Yes.
She also lost to the next title challenger in line after her, Durandame. Durandame pieced her apart. Just like, well, her stand-up's better, period.
Yes.
There's not even an argument to be made there.
Yep.
The one that I thought she had a chance in, but didn't perform up to her potential, was in January against Holly Holm.
Agreed.
Well, Holly Holm wrestle-fucked her against the side of the cage for the entire fight.
She took away
never
a
got
lot of her
to get
chance.
going.
Yeah.
Like the second she landed a shot, Holly Holm was bum rushing her against the fucking cage, and
But-
she never got a chance.
Yeah.
But back to this fight, though, this looks like the Rocky that we know,
Yes.
that we've seen on more than one occasion. Look, I can't say anything bad about losing to Nunes. I can't say anything bad about losing to Durandame,
Right.
because those two are on their striking just steps ahead there, right? Period. Durandame, obviously, because Nunes had to resort to takedowns, otherwise she would have got fucking murdered.
Yeah.
So, I mean, all you can say is Rocky back where she belongs, in the win column, and hopefully she can string a couple more together, possibly get another shot at the title again. Because, to be honest, she does have that potential.
Hell yes.
Got to get unlocked, and who knows, with this whole Nunes possibly retiring thing, that leaves an open women's bantamweight division there. So I'm just saying, it's a possibility she could get the shot against somebody who she could beat and eventually be champion.
Yes, sir. I agree. Now.
Nice deep breath about this one.
Yeah. This one requires a full holy shit. This, boys and girls, might legitimately have been one of the greatest co-main events we have had the pleasure of seeing, I guarantee, this year. Possibly fucking ever. This was every fucking shred the war that we abso-fucking-lutely thought it was going to be 10 times over. Shane Burgos versus Josh Emmett was a fucking beautiful physical chess match for the fullest extent that it possibly fucking could have been. And the most, in my opinion, ironically, painful / beautiful thing about this fucking insane battle between these two warriors that we saw is literally, I shit you not, within the first 15 seconds of the fight, Josh Emmett completely tore his ACL. In the first 15 seconds, we watch it happen live that long into the fucking fight itself. And then he spends the entire rest of the fight not only not worrying about that knee, but angrily throwing that knee, working off that knee, bouncing off that knee, checking with that knee. Not a fuck to be given. And put on a hell of a fucking battle against a crazy man that was Shane Burgos, who fucking props to him as well for being a fucking badass and throwing the fuck down on the other side of it. Those two went in there and just literally gave every fucking thing they had start to finish, and it was a hell of a fucking war to behold. I was very, very impressed by both of them. The only negative thing I will take away from this whole fucking cards co-main spectacular that we got is the same thing that Shane Burgos took away from this. Not that it wasn't a good fight, not that he didn't agree with the decision that he didn't win, but that the fucking assholes who make the rankings for the UFC dropped him 5 fucking places.
What?
5 places on that razor thin fucking decision after a battle like that.
He should have stayed stationary.
If
off a fight
anything, one place I get. It was an L. I can see dropping a place on an L. Maybe. Maybe. If you move him. I agree. Keep him fucking stationary. Let Emmett go.
Yeah.
But to drop that man 5 places off of that performance, that's fucked up.
That is. Burgos showed me that he has a chin like nobody fucking else.
Granite. Fucking granite, man.
He took shot after shot after shot from Emmett. And Emmett has proven over and over and over again he can knock you out with anywhere.
Yeah,
with
he can drop dudes.
And he hit his shots. I don't know how much the knee affected his power, but like that dude hit him with every fucking hard shot that he knew how to throw. And Burgos still kept coming. And it was this is right now this is fight of the year. Like there's no doubt in my mind that this was fight of the year because this was it was amazing. Both dudes gave no fucks and just threw everything for 3 rounds. Like there was no stop. Like it was a fucking amazing fight. And after Burgos took those first couple shots from Emmett, I was like, is this dude gonna be okay? So like you could hear the crack just echoing in the arena. Like that's how hard Emmett was throwing, even off that busted ass knee of his. And then I mean, all the credit in the world goes to Emmett. Like, dude went through the whole fucking fight with a completely torn ACL.
Yeah.
Came out with a W. Got helped over to the interview area. And was still
to do it. Yeah, had to do his interview, Theo.
Yeah, and he's like, I don't know what's wrong with my knee. Like I should have knocked him out, but I'll take the W. I don't know when I'll be back, but I won.
Yeah.
And it's like fucking Emmett was like, he came into this weekend saying, I'm going to show people something, and he sure as shit did.
Sure the
but then so did Shane Burgos. And getting dropped 5 places. 5 places. That's
right.
fucking highway robbery.
That's
highway robbery because he was toe to toe, step to step, every fucking, like, you can't have a fight like that by yourself.
No,
like,
not at all. It takes
like
2 to tango.
Whole way,
and
he was toe to toe.
That's what you like to see.
At points, at points you could have. I thought it was pretty clear that Emmett won by the end there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, Burgos put on like the performance of a fucking lifetime in that fight.
He didn't give him an inch. Emmett had to earn that fucking win for damn sure, and he did. But he made him earn every inch of that victory.
And that fight right there is why watching the UFC is so much fucking fun. Because fights like that, every once in a while, a fight like that comes along where 2 dudes just give everything, and you're like, all right, that was the best thing I've seen this year.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, makes watching all the fluff and filler fight bullshit worth it when you get one of those and you're just like, fuck it. I just put that on repeat. Put that one fight on loop, and I don't need to sleep for a day or 2. That's my momentum builder. That's my workout motivation. Watching that shit just going, holy fuck!
Especially with knowing what the main event was going to be, which it pretty much turned out to be. But like that co-main event, I was like, man, I really hope this one's good, because there hasn't been like, there's been a couple decent fights on this, but there hasn't been anything. If fucking Bilal Muhammad walks away with performance of the night, something's gone wrong here.
Absolutely.
And then those 2 proceeded to just fucking tear the place apart. was amazing.
That was an absolute masterpiece of a fight between those two. Like, when you want to get a casual to become more than a casual, this is the kind of fight you show them. Be like, look,
Absolutely.
this is what can happen. This is why you should be watching this regularly.
Yep.
These two literally put on a fucking 15-minute long, I will say, infomercial, because you know what? This is the one you play to people to get them to buy your product.
Yeah.
Right
Show
here.
the diversity
You want
of your
people to
ability.
buy ESPN Plus? Let them see this one for free on ESPN Plus without fucking doing it. Bam. Hook, line, sinker. You got somebody invested. They fucking did fantastic. Getting dropped 5 places though. That's more than fucking robbery. You literally cut that man's testicles off and made him eat them in front of his children. That's fucking stupid.
Yeah. It was kind of...
Who's the cocksucker that does the rankings?
That's the fucked up part. It's literally a group of self-appointed journalists. There's no committee. There's no requirements. There's no standards. There's no appeals process. It's quite literally a self-appointed group of, and I use the word loosely, journalists.
What I want to know is, why haven't we heard Big Daddy Dana say anything about that? Because he knows goddamn good and well that's fucking robbery.
I'm hoping that's
But
one of those
wait a
things.
minute. It's not affecting Daddy Dana's career.
Right.
But it's affecting one of your other employees' career.
I'm hoping he gets as vehement about that coming out, because that was a late announcement after Dana had already come and gone through the press post-fight press conference deal. So I'm hoping that the next time we see Dana sometime tomorrow or Saturday, he has something to say about that, as much as he had something to say about the outcome of the main event here. I can't say that I agree with Dana's perspective here, because if you look at what this main event was, without your Dana's naturally implanted hater shades that he fucking wears, Curtis Blades, not roughly, not generically, not, ironically, Curtis Blades quite literally set a new record for heavyweight takedowns in a 5-minute fight. Now, I get that he did not make the most out of most of those situations, but most of those situations don't matter when you're talking about just numbers. No one in the history of the heavyweight division has ever been able to take any of their opponents down as many times as Curtis Blades was able to put Alexander Volkov on his ass in a 25-foot Apex octagon Saturday night. That has to count for something. And I get that it wasn't the most exciting, because Curtis Blades told you going in he was going to take Volkov and put him on his ass. He was going to wrestle the shit out of him because he knew that he can't handle it. He's had problems in the past with getting wrestled. Curtis Blades is a big dude. He's a fucking wrestler. That's what he does. He told you up front, I'm going to throw this bitch on the ground. I'm going to wrestle the shit out of him. And then he did. He set a fucking record for takedowns, and he literally made Volkov carry his fucking weight for the vast majority of that fight. There were several points where you could see Curtis Blades had quite literally just gone dead man limp and was making Volkov literally full carry every ounce of his goddamn weight. That's both lazy as fuck and brilliant tactic in wrestling at the same time. You legitimately get a chance to get a full recreational breather while that dude has to hold your full body weight and try and maneuver out. I'm not saying it was the most exciting. What I'm saying is Curtis Blades did exactly what the fuck he said he was gonna do. He wrestled the shit out of Volkov, and Volkov couldn't deal.
You know, I'm 100% behind Curtis Blades on this. The shit that Dana White talked on him, fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. Like, I
It's
don't get
like,
it.
did he forget that's what Curtis Blades does?
It's what he's known
Curtis
for.
Blades is a phenomenal fucking wrestler. If you look at the way he was setting up some of those takedowns, they were fucking brilliantly set up.
Yeah.
His timing was fucking impeccable. But, you know, because Dana White says so, this isn't good for his career. He didn't do it in some spectacular fashion when he had the spotlight. No, he did it in a spectacular fashion. Now, it might not be the most interesting for the casual fan that's out there, but those of us who understand the sport and the ins and outs, this was fucking exciting. I was counting takedowns the whole fucking fight to see how far he was going to ellipse the fucking record.
I had casuals with me. Yeah, I had
Well,
casuals with me that were counting the takedowns like kids counting fucking trucks on a highway drive, you know?
He was, what, 9 in at, like, the middle or end of the third?
End of the third, yeah, he was he was 9. I think he was 9 of 13, 9 successful on 13 attempts at the end of the third round, and he needed 11 to tie the record.
Yeah, it was a thing of beauty. Like, literally. You know what I think what pisses me off the most about this? Dana White talks shit because, oh, he wrestled him. Dana White never says a bad fucking thing about the biggest wrestling fucker of them all.
His new golden pony. Yeah, exactly.
He likes that Russian dick in his mouth, apparently.
Yeah. Getting it right.
Or wait a minute, let me rephrase that Dagestani dick.
Right.
But it blows my mind. Well, why? That's a phenomenal performance. That's what you expect from somebody that's such a high caliber fucking wrestler.
Yep.
Against somebody who we know has problems with wrestlers. You guys made this because stylistically it's a fantastic fucking matchup. Is he going to be able to stop the takedown? Is he going to be able to get the takedown? It's fucking brilliant.
Yep. That's what that match was based on.
In his area of expertise.
Yeah, Curtis Blades, like there was a couple times I think he let him up just to get another takedown.
To throw another one in him. I agree.
Yeah, and like the second it would go to the feet, like he'd take a shot and he's like, nope, no more of that. I'm trying to put you back on the ground so I can lay on you some more. And like I kind of figured that's what this fight was going to be. Just that's what Blades does when he's successful in a fight. Like he just wrestles and wrestles. He's a how much does he weigh? He's like 240, right?
Yeah, he's like I think he came in at 252.
250. He's a 250 pound Khabib.
Yeah, essentially.
What the fuck do you expect to see? Like, I don't like watching Khabib fights. I don't like Blades fights much, but I can probably tell you what the outcome is going to be.
Right.
Based on the opponent. I take one look at the opponent. I'm like, nope, that ain't the dude to stop him. So, I mean, it was what it was. I watched the fight. It didn't excite me at all. But I mean, after what they were trying to follow, they had no like that. The best they could have hoped for was Curtis Blades breaking the takedown record. Like that's the most exciting thing that could have fucking happened in that fight.
Absolutely.
And it did. There we go.
And yeah, he got it. Absolutely. So, absolutely. Hats off to fucking Curtis Blades for setting a legitimate record for takedowns because it's realistically going to take a Herculean effort from a legitimate, true fucking athlete to be able to land successfully 15 takedowns in a fucking fight like that. We saw what it took to land 13.
Look, I'll say this. You have excellent wrestlers in the fucking heavyweight division that have not done that.
Yeah.
God damn it, I'm going to say it again. Daniel Cormier. One of the best fucking wrestlers in the heavyweight division, period. This is hurting me to say DC so many fucking times in one episode. But fuck. when you guys have guys of that caliber who haven't reached that number yet,
It says something,
Dana
man.
White, apparently what you think is going to help someone's career is absolutely fucking wrong, because you just saw a record put in and yet you think this is going to hurt their career. Get fucked.
Yeah, and unless he gets caught, like, he can do it to anybody.
Yeah.
He could do what he did. I mean, I don't think he's going to get 13 takedowns every fight, but he can certainly fucking take somebody down 8 times.
The only
every
one
chance
person
that he fucking gets.
the one person he hasn't been able to has been consistently someone he's not been able to, and that's Francis fucking Ngannou, because Francis has been the only person to date who's been able to stop him not once but twice.
Yeah.
That's the top of the
I
stack
mean,
behind
Francis
Stipe and
Francis
DC.
Ngannou is a complete. He's an even more brutal fighter than he was when he fought him before. So
Yeah.
I mean, trying to set those two up again, I don't want to see that again.
No, that's what we're looking at. Is you've got DC and Stipe fighting for the belt, obviously, but behind those two, it's clearly Francis Ngannou, and behind Francis, who the fuck else
Curtis
besides Curtis right now? Curtis Blades is that fucking spot. He's cemented it with a fucking record number of takedowns.
Yeah.
The only way I want to see that fight again, to be quite honest, is if fucking Francis Ngannou wins the title, because he's next in line. Then give Curtis Blades a shot at him for the title.
Yep.
That would be the only way I want to see that fight again. Because, I mean, we've seen where Francis Ngannou has gone. His wrestling defense has gotten better. His groundwork, don't know, because we haven't seen him on the ground, so fucking I can't say. But his wrestling defense has obviously gotten better.
I agree. But there is something to be said when we talk about bonuses for Saturday night. Fight of the night, quite obviously, Josh Emmett versus Shane fucking Burgos. Performance of the nights, clearly Jim fucking Miller for that beautiful goddamn armbar. And then the other one for Justin James for his fucking debut knockout of Frank fucking Camacho here. I agree with all four of those. I agree with all of those bonuses, absolutely.
He's on your first fight. Fuck.
Right? Your opening debut, you knock out Frank fucking Camacho, and you make that 50G bonus money? Like, props the fuck to you, young man. Good fucking introduction to yourself.
Hopefully that'll be like another Johnny Walker coming in, fucking wrecking shop.
Right? No shit, but with less ego. Oh, and our video is frozen, so uno momento.
Who knows?
And a good solid fuck you to OBS. Okay. And we should be back. Okay, so with that out of the way, that will bring us to just a quick little section here in the recap world to go over the other wonderful event we had last weekend. Not just UFC at the Apex Vegas 3, but we also had the wondrousness that was Submission Underground 15, the tournament to get to Jones, as well as a Jones showcase. So talking about the 8-man tournament real quick, it was a submission only 8-man tournament EBI rule set, with the winner getting a guaranteed $10,000 prize plus the opportunity to face Craig Jones in Submission Underground 16 next month. Opening round, one of the most controversial match turnouts of the evening. I did not see it going this way, but ironically, the Vegas odds makers did early on, because the betting line was pretty fucking updated on this. Right out of the gate, the Vegas odds makers saw this going this way. I did not, but Jimenez got Nathan Orchard to fucking tap in the very first fucking match. did not in any fucking world see Nathan Orchard getting tapped out to start his run at this Craig Jones matchup. But fucking, whoo, we were off and running, and Submission Underground did not take long. Chael barely had time to talk about what you just saw in a match before the next two guys were up, ready to go. We're slapping fucking gloves, metaphorically, of course, and then we're off to the races for the next fucking match here. Jessica, I said it going in. I hope this is how it was going to go, because as ironic as it is, by using jiu-jitsu math, I'm using air quotes for those of you listening, much like MMA math, this situation ironically did work. The math benefited. When you looked at the difference in Amanda Lowen, Washington State's first female black belt jiu-jitsu, coming in against Jessica I, not the worst in the world, but definitely more of a mediocre caliber MMA fighter, not known particularly for her submission, for her jiu-jitsu in particular, you kind of had an immediate feeling that this was Amanda's fight to lose. And I gotta say, I didn't think it was going to get to overtime, but it did, and in overtime, Jessica had no choice but to fucking tap, because Amanda Lowen is a slick monster in the armbar game and was very capable and clearly able to have broken Jessica's arm if she needed to, but Jessica knew right the fuck away and made that tap and got that ass the fuck out of there. The double bonus here is that, one, excuse me, we got to see Jessica I come in cocky and get humbled, just exactly like everyone kind of thought she was going to. Like, everyone really knew this was Amanda Lowen's opportunity to lose. Like, she had everything in place to humble Jessica I on purpose and do it properly, and she did. The other bonus of doing that is that secured her a place opposite one Jillian Robertson on SUG Island for SUG 16 on July 19th. That will be the co-main event matchup. Amanda Lowen versus Jillian Robertson. Excuse me, not July 19th, July 12th. I apologize. But co-main event, Jillian Robertson versus Amanda Lowen. That's got potential to be fucking spectacular here. Tournament finalists, Mason Fowler, Jimenez. It's close. It's fucking aggro on aggro. It's submission only, but damn it, it's getting fucking interesting. Jimenez got him. Jimenez fucking got him. Mason Fowler is a tricky son of a bitch. Oh, he's a tricky son of a bitch. He will be back, and he will look good next time as well. I fucking promise you. But Jimenez fucking... He gets got. He gets got. Mason Fowler's too fucking slick. That choke. It was fight. It's fucking over. And it set up one of the most beautiful face-off moments later on in the evening after Mason Fowler wins and they call in Craig Jones for the immediate face-off poster picture. And Craig Jones, like the nice guy that he always is, reaches right over to grab Mason Fowler's waist and give him a little, ooh, Gucci around the midsection and kind of giggle and make a little joke out of it. And still with the same smile on his face that he had when Craig walked up, Mason Fowler shoves him in the fucking chest and pushes him 3 feet across the octagon and then smiles and gives him a, what are you gonna do? I fucking love it. I'm very much in to see fucking Mason Fowler versus Craig Jones next month on Submission Island. But that brings us to the main event. The thing that folks came to see, the reason that there was a tournament was to get a chance at this man, Craig fucking Jones, stepping in against one of the last guys of the quote-unquote obvious folks that you would think would get matched up against Craig Jones and stand a legitimate chance. Gabriel, Zangief, Checo, everyone in the fucking world that is not a Craig Jones fanboy thought that Zangief is probably the last fucking chance to see Craig Jones just get out Craig Jones if he got past Vinny and he got past fucking Wagner again. Zangief is our fucking Obi-Wan Kenobi, man. He was our only hope. And to be fair, He stopped Craig Jones from putting the leg lock on him not once but twice. Literally threw his fucking arm off of his ankle and yanked himself out of that situation, to Craig Jones being very confused by it. But it was not enough to save him, alas. We get to overtime. The ABI rule set kicks in. You get the choice of position. Craig Jones, ironically, took the back to go for the rear naked choke instead of going for the armbar, where he would have that same leg lock strength to use. No, he went from the back. He took the cradle, and he actually got the tap on Zangief to prove that he's more than just a cheetah print wearing fuck you kind of leg lock guy. Only he can do the rear naked too. He's still got his base, and it just shows you that next month watching Mason Fowler against Craig Jones might be the first time we see something that's more than just a leg lock battle, because in the beginning that was what we saw. Craig against Zangief was absolutely a leg battle, and Zangief was showing fucking all kinds of great work getting out of him, but that's what Craig kept going back to, kept trying to attack, very much like Curtis Blades trying to set a record for fucking takedowns. You probably could have counted and saw Craig Jones throwing a record number of fucking attempts to try and snatch Zangief's leg out from underneath him and take it home as a trophy, but it just didn't get there. So we are now officially set. July 12th will be co-mained by Jillian Robertson versus Amanda Lowen. It will be main evented by Mason Fowler versus Craig Jones. That will bring us into the news and recent events segment here. We have got, first I'm going to go over the medical suspensions from this past UFC events. Then we've got a couple of fight announcements to go over real quick, and we will get into the meat and potatoes of this particular weekend here. Medical suspensions go as follows. The following fighters are officially medically suspended until July 21st. Roxanne Modafferi, Mark Barrialt, Clay Guida, Marion Renault, and Alexander Volkov.
All makes sense.
Rational. The following fighter...
Modafferi got fucking rocked.
She got fucking worked, man. Lauren Murphy put her fucking time in. I was very impressed by that fight. Maybe not as much as I could have been, but more than I expected, I will say that. These guys are suspended medically until August 5th. Max, after that second round, quit. Understandable. Frank Camacho, understandable.
Yeah, makes sense.
Justin James, I did not see that one coming. Turns out he actually had a cracked orbital from that fucking 30-second exchange with Camacho. He took one in the process, and he's got a cracked orbital, so they suspended him until August 5th. Then. Understandable. Pichetto, one of the early fights, not that great. Bilal Muhammad got it as well, and Curtis Blades.
Yeah.
Understandable.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Then we've got a 4-pack here that are a little out of the ordinary, I would say, but still somewhat understandable. Courtney Casey has to get an x-ray because she as well has some damage. She has to be cleared after getting an x-ray by the medical commission or stay suspended medically until December 18th. Same for Tisha Torres. Has to get an x-ray required and then be cleared by an orthopedic doctor or stay suspended until December 18th. Brianna Van Buren, same thing. Fractured orbital, must get an x-ray and be cleared by a doctor or stay suspended until December 18th. As well as an MRI and x-ray required for Roosevelt Roberts on that arm, because apparently there was more damage than we thought. So they are requiring an x-ray and MRI and doctor's clearance or medical suspension until December 18th. And then there are the two big ones here. Shane Burgos got a cut in the end of that fucking massive war right on the corner of his eye. The laceration has to be cleared by a doctor. If so, he can be cleared as early as August 5th because that was the only major damage that he took despite the fucking beating. But then, of course, we have Josh Emmett, who we watched his knee turn into fucking jello in the first 15 seconds, and he fought on that bitch. He is required to get an MRI and orthopedic clearance and is out at the very minimum until December 15th. We did, however, find out yesterday that it was a full ACL tear, and he is going to undergo surgery. He is not worried about when he comes back. The UFC has already told him when he's cleared, they will get him back in there, just get healed. So he is going to have the surgery and completely redo that knee, knowing that if they do it right, he's still got a good career run ahead of him.
Yeah.
I think, as strange as a couple of those are, for the most part, not too fucking bad. Not too bad. It feels like we're at least getting better as we're getting back into the swing of things.
Yeah. I mean, there was pictures of Tisha Torres and Rocky hanging out in bikinis looking all busted up after the fight. So it kind of makes sense because they were pretty busted up.
Right. Understandably so. Understandably so. So, couple of quick little fight announcements real quick before we talk about the event of the weekend here. The first one I want to talk about real quick, they are stacking up this August 8th card. The pair of announcements that we got are both, I don't want to say big announcements, but they're both interesting announcements because they're both going to be interesting fights. The first one, Julia Avila, who we just saw back-to-back looking fucking spectacular, gets her revenge against one of her early defeats against Nico Montano. So they're going to give that fucking girl another chance somehow. But that'll be an interesting rematch to watch play as the potential co-main event as of right now, to Chris Weidman making his return back to 185, coming in against Omar Akhmedov. I am honestly not terribly excited about either one of them, but I think they both have interesting potential for their respective divisions going forward here. I feel like Nico Montano is really running out of chances, and I feel the same way about Weidman, especially now that he has already flunked the test of going up to 205 and is now basically tuck-tail coming back to 185 against a relatively unknown up-and-comer in Akhmedov.
We're frozen again.
Son of a bitch. Okay, well, we're going to redo. There's only a couple more fights here, and then we'll redo before we jump into the actual card. Fuck OBS, by the way. Thank you for the notification. Next one I want to talk about real quick here. August 29th card. As of right now, looks like they are going to be headlining Alexander Rakic making his way back into the octagon to welcome back to the ring one Anthony Lionheart Smith. That, I think, has a very interesting strikers battle waiting for us there. Next one, rebooking one that has been booked and unbooked, I think, 3 times now. Finally, hopefully, fucking getting to see it so we don't get cursed with this one any fucking more. For the August 1st event, Randy Brown getting back in the octagon against Vincente the Silent Assassin Luque. That, I think, could be a very interesting fight as well. And then the biggest fight announcement that we have gotten of the week for the August 22nd card, the headline will officially be Uriah Hall versus the Soldier of God himself, Yoel fucking Romero. That is going to be a fucking battle of two dudes who are, never going to likely make another run at gold, either one, but still have potential for a fucking damn good fight to go on between the two of them.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see
Romero's got something to prove, too.
Yes, he does. After all that dancing out of the octagon instead of in, he's definitely got a little fucking show here. Okay, so...
The man up or shut up.
Yeah, I agree. So let me drop the zoom real quick and pop back so we will get some vidya for this last little section of meat and potatoes and talk about the fights. Oh, fuck OBS. Okay, and there we go. Okay, so back to the Fuck OBS show. Welcome back and thank you for your tolerance. That fucking unscheduled break will bring us into the meat and potato segment of this particular fucking show. The namesake, the reason for the season, if you will, the Apex 4, the UFC Fight Night Las Vegas 4 slash UFC Fight Night slash UFC on ESPN 12 semicolon Porier Vs Hooker. This being the last fight of the UFC's run in the Apex in Las Vegas before we take a 2-week break and then reconvene on Fight Island in Abu Dhabi, only to spend the next 3 weeks there and then take a couple weeks off and reconvene again back in the Apex potentially, but that's neither here nor there. This one is going to be an interesting card. It was kind of slimmed down because it's going to be the last card, and they're not trying to put on a big event with so much coming up in 2 weeks at UFC 251 from Abu Dhabi. But it is an interesting card nonetheless. So the first one I want to take just a moment to talk about here. The first fight that is really going to just, in my opinion, get your attention and kind of grab you by the cojones. The little guys are always exciting, as Fresh would say. Jordan Griffin here versus Youssef Zala. This is another one of those that when they let that initial bell go, it's going to get fucking crazy. And it's going to stay crazy until either someone goes to sleep or that final bell goes off and you have to let these two chihuahuas out into a field to burn off that excess energy. These two little guys are two guys who are going to go the fuck at it. I think in this particular case, this is going to be a situation where Jordan Griffin's just slight bit more experience is going to carry him through versus Zala's relatively new to the UFC, new to kind of really the, ironically, not necessarily the big lights as they traditionally would be, but in this situation, so much focus, so much hyper focus with the lack of crowd. It almost, in my opinion, is more of the spotlight than the whole crowd situation would have been. I think Griffin's got what it takes to take this one.
Zala, he looked really good the last time he was out. Like, really fucking good. I think this fight is going to be is they're both take a shot or two at each other on takedowns in the first round, and then it's just gonna go fucking ham. Like these two are just gonna swing fists when they realize that they both have trouble with each other on the ground. Because they're both pretty darn good wrestlers. So I think this is gonna turn into one of the little dudes where they just, like, the second round starts, like they'll take their shots and kind of gauge each other out in the first round. And then that second round's going to start, and they're just going to fucking try and find each other's range and just deliver fist over fist at each other, which will make it a very, very exciting fight. I have no doubt that this is going to be an exciting fight because Jordan Griffith, he doesn't put on boring fucking fights.
Yeah.
It's just not. He's just not fucking capable of it. Yeah.
You don't know how. Yeah.
So I'm actually going to take Zala on this one. I think
Nice.
I think he's a little bit more of an unknown. And I think he's a better striker, and I think this is going to devolve into strikes. So,
I can see that. I can absolutely see that.
I think my favorite thing about this fight, both of these guys, short turnaround time. They both last fought in February.
Yeah.
One at the beginning of February, one at the end. So they're pretty much on the same fucking turnaround. They both had fantastic performances their last outing. To be quite honest, I think right now they're coming in a horse piece. The only thing that gives any leeway is Griffin has a wee bit more UFC experience.
Yeah.
With 3 fights in. Granted, he lost his first 2 and finally won one.
Right.
How he didn't get cut, I don't know. But hey, whatever. But
you put on exciting fights, man. Dana will keep you around for a little bit.
Yeah. So I think we're in for another exciting fight between these two little guys, and I think it's just going to be balls to the walls for 3 fucking solid rounds.
I don't know. Uh, sort of like, sort of how Fresh was talking. Both of them are pretty well matched when it comes to the ground. The only real difference is Griffin has a little bit more time and experience in fighting and his time in the UFC versus what is his name, Zala. Um, I drew a blank for a second. Um, he has.
Ace is getting away.
I know. Um,
Keep that window open long enough, you get the second hand. I told you.
yep.
Yeah.
Griffin has a little bit more time and experience in. We can all say that. But watching Zala fight, he seems a little bit more hesitant on his actual aggression going forward, standing and striking. So I think Griffin could get him standing. If it stays standing, throwing. If it goes to the ground, it's anybody's fucking game because they're both very fairly matched on the ground.
Yeah.
But if they can fight each other off on takedowns, I can see Griffin taking a win for striking. KO TKO.
Could definitely be interesting. I agree completely with what Fresh said. Jordan Griffin doesn't understand how to put on a fucking boring fight. It's not in his DNA. He's incapable of it. So
He is incapable of it.
it's gonna be good one way or another.
I mean, dark horse fight of the night right there at the start.
Yeah, early on for sure. Next one I do want to give just a quick little mention to the fight after that, because this originally was supposed to be a 12 fight card. It has now been whittled down. I think we're down to 9 fights left. I think they've got it where they're going to run 5 for the prelims and 4 for the main card now. It's whittling down. We've lost fights over the last 2 weeks. They've been whittling the fuck away, one injury after another. Luckily, not many Backstreet Boys influences on this card, unlike the last card. Everybody tested clean on this one. The fights that did get pulled up to this one were all injury related or, unfortunately, some personal events related. No Backstreet Boys. So it will bring us into an interesting one here. Not so much in that it's relevant in the division or that it's going to be, a big name blowout or anything. I think it's more of one of those kind of throwing a bone to us more fanatical fighters here. Takashi Sato versus, I'm going to make sure I say this gentleman's name right. I'm probably not going to, though. Ramizi Brahamiza, I believe is how it's pronounced. Basically, they are giving Takashi Sato a soup can who still doesn't even have his player character unlocked on the UFC website right now. It kind of feels like this is another one of those points where Takashi's been around in one form or another for a hot minute here, and they're really just saying, if you can't do something to put some razzle-dazzle on your fucking resume right now, we're gonna have to send you down the fucking road. I'm hoping we get to see some fucking razzle-dazzle because we have seen Takashi Sato look fucking great. Just not so much recently. Hopefully he can do something fun, is what I'm hoping.
I can't call him a hot or cold fighter either. As much as I would like to, he's been kind of lackluster. He hasn't performed to the expectations of what he should have.
Yes.
Yes,
Good
he
phrase.
KO'd Ben Saunders, but Ben Saunders was on his fucking way out.
Yeah, that was a weird fucking fight to begin with. And I love fucking Ben Saunders. Killer B is my fucking dude. But that was a weird fucking fight to begin with. Credit where credit's due. He got the KO, but that fucking fight was weird.
And then he turns around and gets submitted 6 months later, against Bilal Muhammad.
Right? It was, yeah.
Pure fucking craziness. To be honest, coming in with a guy that they're pretty much bringing off the street.
Yeah.
If he doesn't pull his head out of his ass and make a solid fucking short work night of it, there's going to be a problem.
Yeah. I'm just looking. I'm just looking at what's on paper about Brahmaj. Is that Brahmaj?
Brahmaj, I think, yeah.
Brahmaj. Just looking on paper, I mean, he's the type of dude to give Sato some trouble. Like it's like just reading about him because I don't know anything about him. He looks like the type of dude who would give Sato some trouble, and has continued to give Sato trouble. Like he'll take him down, not let him pick his spot, because that's what Sato likes to do. He likes to pick his fucking spot.
Yeah, and it's
And
stay
it
there.
doesn't let, yeah, from what I'm reading about this dude, like his fights don't go outside the first round. Like he takes people down and he fucking submits them ruthlessly. So, I mean, I haven't been all that impressed with Sato to start with. So, I'm going Brahmaj. Come on, off the street guy.
Right?
Take him down, take an arm or take a neck or something.
Something interesting. Make it fun.
Yeah, make it a fun fight. Although it sounds like it'll be brief, one way or the other.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I've been doing the same thing that Fresh did, just trying to find like any type of fucking videos and research on Brahmaj. I've been just trying to find fucking something on him, and like from
Not a lot out there.
yeah, from just like Google searching and fucking trying to find something. Apparently, in what I can never find what league he fought with, but apparently he was a fucking top notch welterweight fighter. I guess that's kind of how I kind of suspected, getting brought to the UFC. But going up against somebody like Sato, we really don't know what to expect from him, because fighting somebody that was on the way out versus somebody that is leaps and bounds ahead of you, being Muhammad. I don't know what to expect from him fighting. I just don't know what to expect from Sato fighting, because we haven't seen anything spectacular yet.
Right. No, I don't know.
I haven't seen anything spectacular. I'd love to see another fucking impressive debut for Brahmaj. I'd love to see another impressive debut for somebody.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad at that at all.
That sort of shit gets me very excited for their career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this sounds like I mean, he sounds like a pretty solid grappler.
I mean, came out of Texas, top 13 in the Southwest.
Yeah.
Like I saw this page up on like 19 Google tabs.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be interesting one way or another here.
Yeah.
But speaking of interesting one way or another, that brings us into the next one here I want to talk about real quick. Felipe Lenz making another quick turnaround here, stepping in against Tanner Boser. Felipe Lenz really is coming in, and as much shit as I talk about it, and will still continue to talk about it, I will give credit where credit is due. Felipe Lenz is legitimately impressing me as a guy who came in from the PFL to the UFC. He is absolutely proving his legitimacy. He's looking fucking great every time he goes out there. He's looking better every time we see him. And he's not going in there against nobody. He's going in there against very capable guys and doing legitimate work. So Tanner Boser has shown that he can stand and he can hang with some of the best that we've fucking seen in the division. And I think this is a good challenge to see, is Felipe Lenz really ready to get that push into the fucking, top 15, top 10, give him some fucking numbered, real, legitimate talent and see where he can go. I think Tanner Boser is basically the last step in Felipe Lenz's potential top 10 crack of the numbered career. And I legitimately have to believe, based on what we've seen so far, I think he can fucking do it. I think he's got better wrestling. I think he's got better striking. And that's not to say anything bad about Tanner, because I like Tanner as an up-and-comer. I really do. But I think given the comparison between the two, I think Felipe looks stronger everywhere it goes. I think he's got a little more momentum going here. I think this is the springboard that he can really use to get his name in there. And if he comes out and looks good doing it, I think this could really put him in that top 10 contention and put him really on the radar.
Yeah, Felipe Lins. I mean, his last couple times out, he's looked and gotten better every time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can't take anybody away you can't take anything away from a dude who takes out or wins the damn PFL. Like that's some pretty fucking harsh conditions to get through.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, everything didn't go right the first time, but like, he's gotten better and better and better. Here comes Show Stealer. Hey, Show Stealer. So yeah, yeah, I'm picking Lins. Last couple fights have shown me quite a bit. Shown me quite a bit from him. So not taking anything away from Bozer, but I think Lins has more potential, and I think he's cracking his potential at this point. I think he's just going to get better and better and better.
And just how quick of a progression of he's going every single time he goes up, or he's doing videos of showing him training. Like the speed of progression is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like Lindsay, he's either the camp that he's with or just him as a fucking person. He's abnormal, because like every couple of weeks he'll post some training videos, like hours long training videos, and I want to learn this, and he'll say it in the middle of training, and then he learns it, and then he sits there and perfects it until he gets it down pat.
He seems like that type of fighter. I'm sure he's got a good camp. Like it's impossible. It's hard to have a bad camp in the UFC, but I'm sure he's that type of fighter where he's really that dedicated.
He's very impressive. Just watching him try and train. Well, watching him train and he posts a lot of stuff, like hours long of him like doing weight training and showing his routine weight training and doing stuff like that. It's very fucking impressive.
Lost our host. Should we move on to the next one?
If you want to.
Who do we got next?
Oh God, I don't know.
Sorry.
Back.
Dogs be dogs.
Dogs.
We're talking about the lady flyweights.
So, no.
I was gonna say this fucking.
They got canceled. They got canceled. Barella pulled out.
Lady flyweights got canceled.
Yeah, Barella's one of the ones that pulled out. Unofficially, personal reasons, not medical, not Backstreet related. That's the one that I was talking about. That it was a personal issue is what she cited, but that one had gotten pulled out. They couldn't find a last minute replacement as of 20 minutes before the show started. I was checking. It was still, as of the show's beginning, confirmed off the card. So that brings us to the air quotes here for those listening. Premier prelim fight on the card. Luis Violent Bob Ross Pena versus Kama Worthy. To be fair, this could be co-main event. I'm not going to say this is a main event worthy fight. It's good. It's not quite that good, but it's, in my opinion, it's better than Premier Prelim worthy. But that being said, it's still going to be a great fucking matchup. Stylistically, these two are very similar in that they're both way long and lanky for that division. They both seem like they should be heavier dudes because they're so goddamn big and Stretch Armstrong-y. But it's the difference in the skill sets, I feel, that's going to make the difference here. We've almost seen Pena seem like he's plateaued as far as his technique and as far as his range go, whereas every time we have seen Kama Worthy step into a fucking octagon, he's showing us something different or a new look at what we've seen him do something previously. He's just growing, expanding, and showing more of his tool sets, whereas Pena seems to almost have relied to the point where He's longer in reach, and he's also got some submissions. So he's going to work at range until he can get in and try and submit you either with a choke or a lock. So there's not a lot of mystery in what we've seen from him so far. Not to say he's not good at it, but there's something to be said about a guy who's evolving every time you see him versus a guy who's just doing the same thing over and over and he's good at it. I think in this situation, Kama Worthy's ability to show more broad technique and more diversity in his styles is going to give him the advantage here, whereas he's going to see where Pena starts to get comfortable and rest on his laurels a little bit and have something to adjust and throw him off. I think that versatility is going to play in his favor. I think Kama Worthy takes this.
I'm actually surprised to hear you say that. 'Cause I think Pena rocking with, he's America top team, right?
Yes, he is now. He was. That's one of those interesting things that actually kind of helped me make my decision here is that Pena came originally from Westside MMA Arkansas with Bryce Mitchell. That's how they originally got their start. Is both of those dudes from Westside MMA were on Ultimate Fighter season 22, either 21 or 22. I can't remember now. But they were both 145-pound dudes from Arkansas getting into the Ultimate Fighter, representing Midwest MMA, really. And both of them have subsequently come into the UFC, but then as soon as Pena started to get a little bit of notoriety here, he immediately bailed out and moved to go down with ATT.
Yeah. I mean, ATT does a really good job of getting their fighters ready.
They do. They absolutely do.
I think it's going to be a really good fight.
Yeah.
Both dudes do have some range on their strikes, so I don't think either of them have an advantage that way.
Right.
They're both pretty darn good on the mat. I'm just gonna think because I think this fight came together fairly quickly, didn't it?
It did. It had been rumored for a while, but it actually like materialized pretty quick. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna give it to Bob Ross.
Nice.
I think ATT is going to do a better job of getting him put together for the fight. I think this will be a lot of fun. Like I said, stylistically, they're both pretty darn well matched up. I'm gonna give the benefit of the doubt to ATT for the fight prep, and that's the only thing I can really. That's the only way I can really make a decision on something on a fight that, like I said, I think in my brain this thing came together in the last couple weeks.
Right.
So. Yeah, so this was just kind of one of those fights that got thrown on the card because both fighters are very exciting, very fun to watch, and I'll give it to Pena. Just on the prep, that's all I can think of.
Understandable.
The only thing that it's really going to come down to is who can land the better punch or who can get a cleaner takedown, because they're both pretty solidly matched on ground game, and both of them on their feet. It's gonna come down to who can take them down to the ground first and do something with it, like properly do something with it, or who can land a dominant, like good heavy-handed strike first. Because if one of them gets stumbled, it's a wrap. Because they're both fairly aggressive when it's moving forward on their feet.
Right.
They're both rather aggressive in a bad way, because both of them have been clipped and knocked down in that aspect. But that's what it's going to come down to, at least for me personally. I really can't pick somebody on that, because that's just like fuck.
Resident Heel looks like he's contemplating which of these two.
I have no idea what fight you were talking about. I had to go take a phone call.
Gotcha.
Luis Pena versus Kama Worthy.
To be honest, I don't give two shits about Luis Pena. Some of his shit that he's been into lately, I'm highly against. So
yeah,
I honestly just hope that Kama Worthy gets the best of him. However, I don't know that that's possible because, Kama Worthy's been on kind of a fucking just ugly road lately. And Violent Bob Ross has put on a couple of good shows. As much as I'm not a fan of his lately because of some of the shit he's doing, I have to give him credit because he's put on some fantastic showings. Although he did have one fight in there in, I'm gonna say it was last year, towards the end of last year, where he just looked like shit. But then he popped right back on the horse. So I'll have to give it to Pena. Even though I really don't want to, I still want to see Worthy whip his ass. I just don't think Worthy's got it in him right now.
It'd be interesting to see how it shakes loose. That's for damn sure. But this is the point where, like I was saying, because of the way that this weird card has fallen into place here, we are looking at a 4-fight main card. So there really isn't, ironically, a bad place to be on the main card. The irony being the opening fight on the main card isn't even a fight that was originally put together. This is one that actually fell apart and got put back together at the last minute. Sean Woodson was originally supposed to be facing Kyle Anderson. Kyle Anderson, however, fell out at the last minute, and we now are going to be seeing late-minute replacement Sean Woodson versus Julian Juicy J. Arosa.
Mm-hmm.
Another fellow tough Ultimate Fighter, I believe it was season 2, 22 rather, contender from that fucking era of dudes who just fucking came in and were putting on the show. One of the last times Ultimate Fighter was really notably fucking entertaining because the guys in it were all legitimate motherfuckers. I think this is going to be one of those situations because Julian Arosa has much like Andrew Sanchez from that season as well, came in, looked great, and then fell off. Just fell the fuck off for a hot minute. And then came back and looked spectacular, and then fell the fuck off again and just disappeared for a minute. So I think this is one of those situations where they're giving Julian Arosa a chance. Hey, you want to fucking turn this around. You want to make a comeback. Last minute shots are where it's at here in 2020, thanks to the fucking Backstreet Boys. Here's your chance. Here's your last minute fucking shot. Step in. You're a fucking somewhat still recognizable name. Do something, buddy. Do something. I legitimately hope he can. I'm not going to hold my breath on it, though.
No. I mean, Sean Woodson ain't nobody to fuck with.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, best of luck, buddy, but...
Like, I mean, Arosa's been around longer. He's trickier, slicker, but you're fighting a dude who's like just plowing his way through people,
clean as fuck too,
demanding attention.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I have to go Sean Woodson. Like, there's not a whole lot of doubt in my mind about this one. But after the way last week's picks fucking fell through.
See, it happens like that sometimes. Fucks your abilities up.
Yeah, it does. And now I'm second guessing everything that my heart is telling me.
I know that feel.
Yeah, I mean, Sean Woodson should take this fairly easily. There's always the fighter's chance. You punch someone or you get a lucky takedown and lock them into something.
Right.
It's always that. But I mean, I don't see Sean Woodson falling prey to anything at this point. Like he's a man on the move.
He's definitely giving it hell.
I'll call it. Rosa does not win this fight, period. Of the 5 fights he's had in the UFC, he has only won 1. And I mean, outside of the Tough House, I'm not talking about that.
Right.
I'm talking strictly UFC contracted fights. He's had 5. Only won 1. Yeah. And he's lost to a bunch of fucking soup cans that we don't even see anymore. Yeah. Sean Woodson on the other side of the house, he's that new breed of fighter that's been coming. And those guys are tough to fucking get rid of. I without a doubt, Sean Woodson wins this fight. Look, crafty veteran or not, I can't even call him a crafty veteran because he wasn't ever very crafty. So I'll just say he's a veteran that thanks for coming and playing and catching a paycheck? Question mark.
So long and thanks for all the fish.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, you're literally a spot holder on the canvas right now. That's it.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so that's a unanimous decision across the board that Woodson's going to whoop ass. Um, like even when Woodson fought in SFC, the fucking Shamrock,
Yeah.
fucking garbage shit.
Ken's promotion.
Yeah, Woodson still like they don't have the best of the best there, but he still put in some fucking fantastic performances fighting there, and then coming in to the UFC, he just kept fucking going. He's just fucking like he's trying to just plow through the UFC. He's trying. He's fucking trying. So that's just gonna be a unanimous decision across the board that Woodson is gonna kick somebody that has like almost 3 times the amount of fights under his belt.
It's weird the way they play out like that sometimes. Next matchup, though, much more interesting in my opinion here. Not that this one is really like division shaking or like, applause worthy early on. Don't get your popcorn ready, but this is not going to be a boring match. This is one of those where you got two guys who are going to give you everything they've got, and it's going to be interesting, but there's a real hard time to be had if you're going to try and predict which way it's going to fall. In Gian Vellante versus Maurice the Crochet Boss Green. Both of these dudes, always fun as fuck to watch. Gian Vellante is another one of those, like we mentioned earlier, he doesn't know how to not have a good fight. He can't not be entertaining. Even if he loses, he still gives you every fucking thing he got, and it's fun to fucking watch. Maurice Green has not had the best of runs, but every time we see him in the octagon, it's always entertaining. It's always a good time to watch. And I think you put the two of them together, it might not be the most technical battle that we have ever seen, but I'm telling you right now, this is going to be a fun fight to see go down. I think the difference here, kind of like one of the earlier fights, experience makes a big factor when you talk about guys who just know how to go in there and fight the fuck out. And Gian Vellante is that dude who has been there for a hot fucking minute. Again, credit where credit is due. Maurice Green is another guy who came in off the Ultimate Fighter. Still hanging around. There's a lot of Ultimate Fighter guys on this fucking card. So clearly, if you are entertaining, whether you are the best fighter or not, you can make it from Ultimate Fighter into the UFC and have some longevity in your opportunity. But I don't think Maurice Green has got enough to outdo what Gian Vellante has been sustainably capable of doing in his opportunity that Dana White has been giving him. I think we get to see a good fight, but I think Gian Vellante is going to take the W.
I'm agreeing with you on this one. I think Maurice Green's he's a little bit too patient for as big of a dude as he is. Like that dude should be using that reach, throwing fucking kicks.
Get a little
really
aggro.
Just throw people off of the game.
Yeah.
With as big of a fucking dude as he is, he should totally be. Like, I don't know why his game plan isn't that all the time, but for some reason, he loves to kind of sit back and measure people, and he works a really methodical fight. I respect working a methodical fight.
Yeah.
But I mean, Gian Vellante, he'll just go, and that's gonna be the fun. Is he'll just come in and fucking go. Just fucking go. So I'm giving it to Gian Vellante. I don't think the patience is going to suit Maurice Green against Vellante. Vellante will come right at him at the start, and I don't see this one going long, quite honestly. But every time I say that, the shit goes to decision. So it'll be a fun 3 fucking round.
Yeah, that will.
You muted, so muted.
I don't think we see 3 rounds out of this fight, to be quite honest.
I don't think so either.
Not with John Monte's style. However, Maurice Green, he's been known to TKO people.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
However, he really has just had a rough go of it. A fucking terribly rough go of it. So, to be honest, I have a feeling he's going to end up getting slapped. Probably mid-second round.
I can see that.
Yeah, Green, he's had a couple of like fucking decent knockout wins. There's like was 2 or 3 of them that were rather impressive. But he he could get a whole lot more if he keeps just pressure.
Mm-hmm.
Like how
I agree.
Fresh said, he's standing back. He's like doing the old school fucking Weidman, just step back and keep throwing fists, which is a game plan, but it's not a fucking good one, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
With
Not in
how
this day. Not in this day and age.
No.
no, back in the
Except with
day
his
in the
big-
Weidman area, that was,
As big of a dude as he is, and with his skills, like he should totally be walking
He is
forward
a-
in every fight.
Yeah. Agreed.
he has a ridiculous reach too.
Mm-hmm.
He has ridiculous reach. I don't understand why he doesn't keep that and just work it, because he has inches on anybody.
Everybody. Yeah. Everybody he fights, he's got several inch reach advantage on.
I don't like. I get working slow and picking somebody apart, but do it in a faster manner than what he does, and then like put more in other than just your stand up game, because he doesn't have a good toolbox whenever he comes to the ground. If a year or two from now, he could be a good fucking name if he doesn't get dropped this year. But putting him up against somebody like Vellante, there's no fucking way you're coming out of that. There's absolutely no way, unless it comes down to a decision and you walk out and you're walking out of that cage. There's no way that you are fucking leaving being okay. There is no way.
I agree. So, ironically enough, this would be the point where we all kind of anticipated Ned making his appearance. I'm not surprised he didn't, though. The
Ding ding.
lumpy microwave plate of lumps mashed potatoes are supposed to be, that is the mashed potatoes of the meat, and this is a weird fucking co-main event, boys and girls. I'm not gonna fucking lie. This is fucking weird.
This is cauliflower fucking replacement.
Yeah, this is one of those that no one asked for this fight. No one was screaming from the bleachers, this is the match to make, we have to see this. But at the same time, this is one of those matchups that's just weird enough that nobody was really mad that the match got made. Because as much as nobody was calling for it, it's also a strange enough combination of what the fuck. It might just turn out to be interesting as shit. Now, before we get into it at all, I anticipate this being the most glorious shit show we have been witness to in recent times. I completely anticipate this being a giant elephant pie-sized pile of shit. But we have been wrong before about way more normal matchups. So I will say this. Mickey Gall is legitimately a pretty badass motherfucker in the world of jiu-jitsu. He may not have been able to demonstrate that fully in the world of MMA yet, but he is legitimately a pretty bad motherfucker in the world of jiu-jitsu. To a comparable degree, I would say, in that Aluminum Mike Perry is an arguably definitive, solid headhunter of a striker. If Mike Perry catches you clean with a good shot your eyes are going to roll back in your head and you're going to bounce off the fucking canvas. That has been demonstrated time and time again, and I will not dispute that in any way, shape, or form. I try to make a point, just regardless of how I feel about you, I will give credit where credit is due. And if Perry connects with you clean, you're going to fucking bed. The problem is that sloppy fucking Homer is so far from consistent or reliable in anything that he does. There's no real confidence you can have in rooting for him unless you're from Philly for some reason, I guess.
Yeah.
But I think in this situation, despite it being kind of a weird matchup, Mickey Gall has legitimately been taking this very, very seriously. And if you follow him on social media, you see he's not fucking around. He's obviously, like the rest of us, does not think that Perry's playing with a full deck by any stretch of the imagination. And his 13-year-old girlfriend being in the fucking corner with him this weekend is going to be demonstration of that. Sarcasm for those of you who don't know. But I think in this situation, with Mickey Gall taking this more seriously and understanding that a good showing this weekend means more to him than getting waylaid by a fucking soup can with platinum tattooed across his fucking eyebrow, I think it legitimately gives him just that much more of an opportunity, not necessarily an edge, but an opportunity, in my opinion, to make something out of it this weekend, because he understands, for as big of a fucking derp as Mickey Gall himself is, and he fucking is, he does have a little bit of a sense of common thought, of fight IQ resemblant up in that gray matter he's got between his ears. So I think that gives him just that much more of an edge versus the tatted up soup can that is Aluminum Mike. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but I think it's going to be interesting and it's going to be exciting for as long as it lasts. But I think this is, as I was telling my wife, this is a matchup of dope versus derp. And I think it's going to be fun, but I don't think it's going to be technical.
I mean, it could turn technical.
Technical knockout?
Well, I mean, this goes one of two ways. Either old platinum / aluminum, whatever version shows up. If platinum shows up and just throws bombs, like Mickey Gall's gonna be in fucking trouble.
It's fucked, yeah.
But the thing about aluminum Mike Perry, on the other hand, is he'll talk himself into playing games with his fucking opponents, and we've seen what happens over and over again when that happens.
Yeah.
Like, if you think you can take your opponent at a grappling game, and you decide that I'm going to show everybody tonight, aluminum Mike Perry, you're going to have a bad evening. But I mean, my pick here, I mean, it could go two ways. Like, if it goes outside the first, Mickey Gall fucking won this thing.
Yeah.
If it's in the first round, like Platinum Mike Perry showed up and threw the fucking bombs, and you can just see the look on old Golf T's face down there. He's getting ready to go off about this one. That's my pick. I mean, if it's in the first, like, aluminum Mike Perry stopped the fucking fight, like he's fully capable of doing against Mickey Gall. Like, he's fully capable of winning this fight in the first and walking the fuck out with a paycheck for a couple minutes work. Like, he's fully capable of doing that. If aluminum Mike Perry shows up and he's dumb enough to fucking play Mickey Gall's game, which it's entirely possible that he's talked himself into the fact that he thinks he's a Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt. Like, there's an entire possibility that aluminum Mike Perry has done that. Then Mickey Gall's going to rip him to shreds. And I can't see it going any other way than those two possibilities. Like, I just don't see it. So, go ahead, Golf T. It's your turn, man. Talk about old aluminum.
Here it goes. First and foremost, I hate that I have to talk about this fight at all, because I hate both of these motherfuckers. In fact, if they were both on fire, I wouldn't piss on either one of them to put them out. I would watch both of them burn in a heaping pile of dog shit that they both are. Look, let me start here because you guys all know how I feel about Aluminum Mike. So I'll get to him in a moment. Mickey Gall, because we don't see too much of him. Why? Because he's a rolling fucking dumpster fire. His only notable win is against a guy who has never fucking trained MMA and tried to take a fight on 6 months' notice. If y'all don't know who I'm talking about, I'm gonna call him by his stage name, CM Punk.
Yep.
Dude had no formal training. Still put up a decent fight against Mickey Gall because why? Mickey Gall is fucking trash. And Mickey Gall called him out. Why are you calling a guy out with no training? Leave that to the fucking guys that are just coming in. But this dumpster fire of a man thinks that this is a great way to springboard his career, which obviously is not the case. To think that you have that W on your record and you're proud of that, dude, go play Russian roulette with only one empty chamber. That's all I'm saying. At this point, I'll give you an out on that 6-shooter. You have one out. That's how I feel your odds should be. I don't even want to talk about fucking military. What is this dumb fuck doing? Always. Look, anybody who's paid attention to his social media, I really don't. But it's popped up because why we see fucking somebody who thinks he apparently wants to be in goddamn Hogwarts with a goddamn scar on his face because he got into obviously a bare knuckle fight outside of training or possibly during with training with somebody who he's training with. Obviously, nobody likes you. That's why you got all bum fucked up there. And you act like you're fucking phenomenal. There's a reason why there's not a number next to your name. There's a reason why you're fighting another dumpster fire in Mickey Gall. The best thing to happen to you was plastic surgery after your nose got all fucking caved in. And that only was good because it happened during the fight, so they were paying for it. Otherwise, you'd look just as bad of a dumpster fire as Mickey Gall. Oh, wait, you already do. Like, to be honest, I don't give a fuck who wins this fight. To be honest, the best possible scenario for this, for my money, would be that a helicopter completely fucks the main event here, comes down in a crashing ball of flame, and kills both of these bastards. That's my best possible outcome for this fight. And then watch, just let the fire department not come. Don't put them out. Just let them burn. Let them burn.
You can rebuild. You can
maybe
rebuild the Apex while you're in Abu Dhabi.
I've got it. I know what to do with these two. Let's put them both in a vat of kerosene. Start them on fire and let them fight. Whoever drops first, that's the one that dies. The other one gets to live. Although burned very badly, you get to live. Let's do that. That would make this fight interesting for me. Otherwise, no. This is just... Somebody took the fucking potatoes off of this plate and tried to replace it with mashed cauliflower. Fuck you, I want my starch. Fuck you, I love potatoes. Piss off. These two, fuck them.
I think it'll be at least be kind of like that sloppy kind of entertaining.
I can't even play heel on this because they're both fucking trash.
They are.
Yeah.
I have no idea why this fucking fight's on the card.
This deserves to be on the undercard.
That's what I was going to say. I have no problem with it being on the card. My problem is that it's the fucking co-main event.
Look, you can put the fucking Maurice Green, Gian Vellante as co-main event. I'll even go as far as to say, you know what? Put Luis Pena and Kama Worthy as the co-main. No, fuck that. Lins and Tanner Bosman. Fuck it. Let's go that. Put a heavyweight.
That'll be it.
Let the big guys go for it. Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah. But no, you've given us this a la carte piece of flaming dog shit a la mode on top of mashed cauliflower. Get the fuck out of here.
All right, now I got to follow that up. fucking good deal. Okay, so I'm pretty much kind of on. Uh,
Right.
uh, so I like the only thing that I like about Mickey Gall is that he's like an actual, like he actually is good at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Like he's properly good at that. He doesn't. He has never shown it properly in the UFC, really, considering that he only has like 3 wins in the UFC. He's been fighting for a couple years. You need to be doing something different than what you're doing because clearly it's not fucking working, Mickey. Um, use more of your Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu because clearly we all know that works because he was a phenomenal Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu artist before he came to the UFC. Now let's get to the shit show of Mike Perry. Fucking hate him. I hope he dies. I hope he loses. There you go.
So
I just
I
need to
really,
say-
I really want, like I really wish Mike Perry was like a heavyweight and he fought at 215 because like Platinum's breaking point is 215 psi. I really wish because then he could actually be Platinum Mike Perry, and then it would break every fucking time.
I just need to say this because you were up talking Gall as much as you were. He got beat by Super Sage Northcutt.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Well, actually, it's a better question of who hasn't he gotten beat by? When you only literally have one notable win against a guy who's never fought professionally prior, get fucked.
yeah. Oh well. But that sloppy plate of bullshit pushed aside, that will bring us to the fancily cut, exquisitely displayed on paper plate main event of the evening. The namesake for this particular episode, Diamonds are a hooker's best friend. Dustin the Diamond Poirier versus Dan the Hangman Hooker. One of the most interesting main events, I will say, we have seen so far in 2020. Maybe not necessarily the most exciting, but definitely one of the most interesting. I will say this. Both of these gentlemen, for what they are capable. On any given day in any given match, both of these gentlemen are capable of getting the win in most ways. I won't say in all ways, but in most ways. Both of these gentlemen on any given night are capable. The issue that I have seen in the build-up to this particular match is that Dan Hooker has almost unequivocally overlooked Dustin Poirier from the jump. He has almost used this fight just for the namesake recognition alone, while completely ignoring the fact that in order to get that namesake recognition, he still has to win a fight against Dustin fucking Poirier. He doesn't just get to say that I showed up and then I've got that name on my belt. You still have to show up and beat Dustin fucking Poirier, and that is not an easy thing for anyone to do. It has been proven time and time again. Obviously, he might not have that belt around his waist right now, but it does not in any stretch of the imagination mean that he is an easy day of work. He is a walk in the park. The Diamond is nobody's fool, as they say. And Dan Hooker has almost spent more time overlooking him and talking about what he wants to do after he wins this fight than he has done actually preparing or training for this fight, it seems. And to his credit, Poirier hasn't really responded to a whole lot that Dan Hooker said, and the reason for that is because he's been fucking training. And if you follow his socials, you can see Dustin Poirier has been training his ass off. He understands the relevancy that if he loses to Hooker's call out here, that he is falling down the ranks hard and fast. But on the other end of that spectrum, if he can stand in the face of this monumental call out from Hooker and put on a fucking clinic and show why he is where he is in these rankings, I think it solidifies him at the top of the stack. And should Gaethje get past Khabib, Dustin already beat the shit out of Gaethje, so that sets up Dustin a chance back at the title that he could potentially win. That being said, much as I might not like him, Dan Hooker is also very capable. He is very slick. He uses his range very well, but he said he wants to stand and bang with Dustin. And for all the skills that Dan Hooker does have, standing and banging with Dustin Poirier is not one he is going to find is going to give him the result he thinks it will. Dustin Poirier's boxing is on par with the best in the division. Realistically, I would say top 5 in the UFC. His technicality, his crisp, clean, fucking accurate striking and use accurately of power when and when not to use is almost unmatched in the UFC. And when you're being overlooked, that combination makes for a bad evening. And I think this is one of those situations where Dustin's going to come in knowing he's being overlooked and he's going to do fucking work. I think Hooker is going to come in sloppy. I think he's going to come in fucking over egregious, and I think it's going to cost him. I think Poirier puts him the fuck away before we see a third round.
TJ looks surprised by that.
I am. I don't think you're gonna get fucking Hooker out of there that easy. I mean, look. No offense to Dustin Poirier here, but Dan Hooker's got one of the best training partners in all of the fucking world. Period. Does anybody want to guess who I'm talking about right now? Please, by all means, do so. If you don't know, you've been living under a fucking rock, because they have one of the top gyms in all of the fucking world right now.
Mm-hmm. That's now, Bender.
If you haven't figured out who I was talking about or what gym, we're talking about his training partner, Ziada Sanya. Dude, those guys out there in fucking New Zealand, they're fucking animals. Like, they're literally the epitome of killers. Now, am I upset that Hooker has this opportunity right now? Yeah, because I think Paul Felder won the fight. But whatever, that is what it is. I'm beyond that now. It is what it is. Congrats to him. They put on a fucking war. A fucking war, those two did. You're not putting him out that fast. Paul Felder hits like a fucking tank and couldn't put him away, and vice versa. Poirier's boxing is indeed on another fucking level. We saw that when he faced Max Holloway. He literally made Max Holloway look like an amateur, and Max Holloway has some fucking absolutely brilliant striking.
Fuck yes, he does.
Do I think Poirier is going to put him away? No, I do not. Do I think it's an uphill battle for Hooker? Yeah, it's a very large uphill battle and quite steep at that. But I don't see him getting put away. He's too goddamn tough. And to be honest, I think he'll have improved since his fight with fucking Felder. To be quite honest, I have to say that right now, I'm not the biggest fan of Dustin Poirier. He's done some pretty sketchy shit as well. I don't know what's with the sketchy people on this fucking card.
Right.
But, you know, he's had some shit come out of his mouth where I'm going, really? For a person I thought you were better than that, it really makes me want to just discredit him, but I can't discredit how fucking good he actually is. Is he good at stopping wrestling takedowns? Obviously not. Because we watched Khabib wrestle fuck the shit out of him, and So I'm just saying, Hooker's got a legitimate chance here. I don't know that he'll get it done, but I think he has a legitimate chance. I don't see him getting put away. If it goes to decision, I still think Poirier gets it, but I really don't see Hooker getting put away at all in this fight. I think it's gonna go the distance, and I think Poirier will squeak it out, unless Dan Hooker and fucking Izzy have been working some amazing game plan, which I wouldn't doubt. Because I'm sure Izzy's all up in his ear and been working him hard as fuck. But that's a tall fucking task, especially in this weight class. I mean, these guys at one fucking 55, they're fucking gnarly. 145, they're fucking gnarly too. I mean, it doesn't matter which one they're fighting at, but I mean, right now I know it's at lightweight because that's where Hooker's trying to make that run at the title shot. Either way, I have to say it'll be Poirier, but I'm really thinking that it very well could be Hooker. I think Hooker has what it takes to dethrone Poirier from the proverbial, I'll say the third spot right now.
Yeah, I mean, Hangman Hooker, he cannot let this go to the judges. Like you cannot let this one go to the judges because Poirier, he's gonna pick you apart. He's gonna throw high volume shots.
Yeah.
They're technical, they're crisp. He's gonna have the significant strike advantage in this fight, no matter what else happens.
Fuck yeah.
Like he will. Um, Hooker's a really well-rounded guy. He impressed the shit out of me against Felder. You're right, TJ. Felder won that fight. But he showed me a lot. He showed me a lot in that fight that he was willing to just throw everything. And at that point, I mean, when Hooker was talking about Felder, it sounded like he was looking past Felder, because he was already starting his roll. So he's like, fuck Paul Felder. I'll fucking take it. I'm gonna take the champ tomorrow. You know, that's just kind of the way. That's just the kind of the style of interview that he gives, as far as I can tell. Like he always sounds like he's looking past, but I guarantee he's focused. In that gym, he's focused. He's focused on Poirier. So, yeah, if this goes to decision, which it very well could, based on the two fighters here, because Dan Hooker's he's too dumb to quit. Too dumb to quit taking just hard shots. If this goes to decision, Poirier's going to win it. I think Hooker's got enough power and enough sneakiness in his fucking game that he's got a legitimate shot in this fight, and I would kind of like to see Poirier take a dive. I'd like to see Hooker take him out. So I'm going Dan Hooker. Going Dan Hooker on my pick.
I love how both of these guys fight. Poirier, how technically he fights, and whenever he knows that he's has competition on the feet, he goes for point fighting, which is a smart avenue to take at the end of it, because 9 times out of 10 you're gonna get the W coming down to a decision for just strike the number of strikes landing and the number of significant strikes, point blank period. So if it does go to decision, it would be Poirier all day. But Dan Hooker throws fucking bombs. Poirier can handle that, but how many can he handle? Just one after another, because we've seen Dan Hooker throw bomb after bomb after bomb after bomb. Now, saying that, I don't like the fact that Dan Hooker, like, I watched his interview yesterday, and then he had another interview today for ESPN and ESPN MMA. You can fuck off talking about what you're doing next week, a month from now, next year. You can fuck off doing that shit. You look for Saturday. You talk about what you're doing tomorrow at fucking training. You talk about the fight. You don't you can fuck off because 2 months from now you could be completely you could be completely irrelevant inside of fucking MMA and your shot is gone. So fuck off talking about next month or 2 months from now or whenever Khabib fucking loses his belt or steps away. You can fuck off. I want Poirier to win because mostly because of that shit. So Hooker can understand like, hey, maybe I should stop talking about, what's gonna go down, what can go down like 5 months from now, because that's fucking stupid. This is MMA. You talk about your training camp tomorrow in the fucking fight, point blank period. You can fuck off.
Well, and that's the interesting thing about this situation is that we're going to get to see who exactly is going to get to put, I can words, their game plan into initiation and make something out of it here. That's the wonderful thing about the world of MMA is that no matter what everything looks like on paper, nothing makes a bit of fucking difference once Saturday night gets here and that cage gets closed behind those two gentlemen. All bets are literally off because anything can happen at that point. And that is exactly why we do what we do, because that is the greatest. The moment that everything goes, anything can happen. That's why we do what we do here at the I'm No Joe podcast. We're going to call that all for this particular episode here to wrap up the final full episode of the I'm No Joe podcast here for season 2. We will be back Sunday for a quick What Did I Say show to recap the shenanigans from this Saturday's event. But this will be the final I'm No Joe of season 2. We will be back with the I'm No Joe podcast in a couple of weeks for the start of season 3 from Abu Dhabi. We will be doing a live Combat Compatriot for that second Fight Island show, for that Wednesday night show. But before we get into all of that fun, I do want to take a moment to go around and thank these fine folks for taking part in the shenanigans with me here. So first and foremost, if somebody wants to sign up for that scavenger hunt and help us find Uncle Chael's hideout, Mr. Frosto 3, how can they do that?
Sug Island. I'm assuming that it's going to be that he's out of the country for a little bit. We did, like I said before, we did find an empty grain silo with a note that said "so long and thank you for all the grain." So he is apparently out. He's out on Sug Island. Um, so you can find me on youtube.com/fresho3, but forget finding me. What you should be doing is, if you vape at all, go over to DIYflavorchaser.com, find the Mr. Fog, MYSTERFOG, one shots, and purchase a couple. All the proceeds go to Legalized Vaping Australia. They are in the fight of their lives down there right now, and they could use some help. And the easiest way to help is give them some money. So go over to DIY Flavor Chaser, find Mr. Fog, and purchase some tasty one shots and get yourself involved in the fight down in Australia, because it's not just a fight in the octagon, it's a fight worldwide.
And thank you again for your time, sir. Much appreciated. At this point, seeing as how I guess they say when you do something twice in a row, it's the beginning form of a habit. So we will have to say that we are developing an RJ situation at this point. So if folks want to sign on and find out how the fuck they can become part of the RJ MMA official page and all the glory that its potential will possess, how can they get a hold of you after the show, sir?
Go to Instagram and search exactly that, RJ MMA underscore official, over there on the Instagrams. Um, Starting this month, I'm actually going full force and doing a lot of my training videos and all that good stuff over there. So keep an eye out for that sort of shit. And like, if you just want to talk some shit, MMA, and all that, go over there and talk some shit with me.
Hell yes. And then after that, we've gone over it and we've gone over it and gone over it, but you know, some folks just don't fucking pay attention. So at this point, to close out season 2, a definitive, how can someone get the best cheese curds and bend lessons they can get in Wisconsin if they need to get a hold of you after the show, TJ?
Wednesday nights, right here on the YouTube, Sculty Vapes, 9:30 Central Time. That's 10:30 for you guys out east, 7:30 for you all out west. I don't know what that is internationally. Figure this shit out. Also, you can hit me up on the Instagrams. I don't post anything on there, but I do check messages, and I will get back to you. I'll gladly take you around or just talk some shit with you.
Awesome. Thank you, fine folks, again for your time. I do appreciate that as always. Thank you to everyone who has made it this far with us here. It's the end of the evening, so if we have made you giggle, if we have given you some nice points to laugh about here, give us a thumbs up. If we brought you some point of views that you didn't quite have on your own yet, maybe subscribe. We're doing this damn thing. We're going to be here for a minute. We've got more for you. If we gave you an aha moment and put a light bulb above your fucking head, share an episode of the damn show. We're trying to grow this thing. On the other side of that coin, if we're just a couple of dipshits who can't seem to keep OBS running, then go ahead and give us that thumbs down. We earned it and we won't dispute it. But what I will say is that that's all for this evening. So until next time, don't let ignorance stop you. You can root for anything. Unless, apparently, you think Fight Island should have been in the Caribbean with fucking skull thrown on the beach and just, god damn it.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening. How do I say goodbye to what we had? The good times.